It's Monday, kids. It's 7 o'clock Central, 8 Eastern. It is time for Toxic Femininity, brought to you by Midnight Switch. What? That's right, ladies and gentlemen. We are back. It's Monday. Sadly, Nina is not feeling well. She's out tonight. She will hopefully be back next week. But don't fret. We have a lovely gang of ladies here for us. Starting off here to my left, we have, it'd be my actual left. Arr. How are you doing?
I am very well, Tom, and I'm so happy to be here tonight to be here on Toxic Femmes with you all.
We're glad to have you as usual. And joining us is a very special guest, Michelle from Force of Light. How are you?
I'm doing good. How are you all?
How are things going over at Force of Light? It's been a tick since we've talked.
It has, yeah, going pretty well. Yeah. So it has been a while though. It's definitely been a while since I've been on with the girls. So I was really excited when they asked.
Absolutely. And then last but definitely not least, looking like a movie star there tonight. Look at that. She's all shiny.
Thank you.
Miss Lorena Creole.
Hey everybody. So glad to be here. Happy Lundi Gras, because Mardi Gras is tomorrow, hence the face jewels and everything. And so glad to be here. And we got a fun show for you all tonight. We're gonna have a blast.
I like shiny things. She reminds me of Fancy Tackle. She's gonna catch a lot of fish.
I've seen many a tackle box. Like, let's use this lure. Nope. We're gonna use these sardines and these mealworms over here.
Yes, indeed. But I'm gonna share Force of Light Entertainment's link in the chat there, so people can check you guys out if they haven't already. And it looks like we got a lot to talk about tonight, so I'm not going to waste too much time here. We got a couple of super chats already. One hits right on the main topic of the night.
Absolutely.
Dark King says Galactic Star Cruiser looks to be the next Titanic. I think it's a good
Yeah, you are so right on that. We're going to talk about that some more. Woo.
Yes, indeed. So thank you, Dark King, for that. And then go ahead, Lorena, if you want to grab that one.
Let's see. We have Joker Voice. Hey, Mr. J. I can't say this because Nina, but I'm going to give it a try. For $10. Thank you so very much. Says, what a weekend at a con, and got a celeb hello to all my subs from Harley Quinn herself. Tara Strong.
Nice.
You met Tara Strong? Oh my gosh. Wow. I'm so officially jealous. My birthday gift to me as well. Now the lovely ladies of Monday night. Hashtag keep talking. Sup, Tom?
How you doing? And then White Knight's yelling at me. He's like, you're not supposed to talk about her tackle in public. Is that what your mama told you? Michelle, do you want to read this one from Hillis?
Yeah, I like that one. Thank you for the $2 super chat from Hillis. Ain't no holler back guy did something different.
You got me that time.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, indeed. I can't argue with that one. That's right. And then we got Volcanicus Rex next, if you want to get that one.
Absolutely. Volcanicus Rex for a $9.99 super chat. Thank you so much, Volcanicus Rex. Hail to the wondrous ladies of Toxic Femme. What would you rather do than stay in the Galactic Star Cruiser? What?
I think you could think of 100 million things.
Anything on Earth?
God.
I'd probably like to go to Monaco. If I'm going to spend $6,000, I could probably fly to Monaco.
I was going to say I want to go tour the coast of Italy.
You guys are not wrong.
I would like to go to Fiji, one of those islands where you can just get lost to civilization, and then one of those bungalows that are on the water, and you can see the fish from under there. I'd love to do
Yeah, when we were
that.
talking about this the other day, there was people in the chat who were literally like shouting out things that you could do for that amount of money. And the type of things you ladies were just saying were mentioned. We're talking like a week in Fiji or, a month in Mexico and all this. Like they're just tossing out all this stuff that you could do for like $2,000 a person. It's crazy.
It's insane.
Yeah, and I mean this is 4,500 for a single and 6,000 for a family. I mean it's just it's mind-boggling.
In cattle class, in the lowest season of the year. Yeah.
So it's going to get higher than that, you're saying.
Yes.
Good Lord.
I'll be honest. I said it before the show, and this is what it looks like to me. It is basically like a Star Wars rest home. You are paying to be for 2 days to play bingo and do some line dancing and basically be ushered around. What was that you said, Lorena? Yeah, get your Zoloft and
get your Thorazine.
So basically, what we're saying is it's better for us to donate our time at one of those homes and play bingo.
You are correct.
Oh yeah.
You would actually probably feel a lot better afterwards, save a shit ton of money, and you could give them a lousy 5% of what you would have spent, and you would still feel better.
I bet you that the bingo prize is like a $5 voucher or some shit like that.
Probably not even. It's probably some fucking Mickey plushie that they couldn't sell.
Yeah.
No, they give you a BB-8 balloon prize.
Yeah, there you go. A fucking BB-8 balloon like they couldn't get rid of.
Because they're sure as heck not going to give you a sport because they're going to charge you $10.50 for
No
these
shit,
suckers.
right? You got a BB-8 beach ball. This is a fucking balloon. It's a beach ball. Beach balls are fancier. No, this is a fucking balloon, man.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, thank you for that, Volcanicus Rex. And then Nicholas Horton sent to say super sticker. I can't see what it is now. I got to bring up the thing here.
I'm just looking at Ochako, and I keep forgetting the blood chick's name, the really crazy one from My Hero Academia.
Oh, yeah, I had no idea. Couldn't help you there on that one. And Nicholas Horton sent us a Shiba dog farting hearts. Thank you for that.
Thank you, Nicholas Horton. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Nicholas Horton.
Then I can't remember who's next here. We got Lugnut.
Michelle's next.
Yeah, Lugnut for $5. From Heaven They Come. Michelle, Lorena, Nina, how do I say that exactly?
There you go. Yeah.
Okay. Such celestial heart lights that shined beyond the galaxies, and to Tom and Cameron, salute.
How you doing?
Thank you.
Yeah, Arm's the only person I know in the fandom that has a verb for a name.
I've never seen it before. I like it. It sounds
it's noise.
Good.
I mean, it's like it's an engine revving up or whatever you want to call it. It's onomatopoeia.
Yeah,
I like that.
It's not even a verb. It's onomatopoeia, which even sounds kinkier.
It is absolutely 100% kinky, Tom.
I thought you'd appreciate that. Yes. And thank you, Lugnuts. We appreciate that super chat. And then we've got Hyper Guyver 2 sending in a $2 super chat.
Yeah. Is it me?
Yeah, that's you, my dear.
Hyper Guyver 2 for a $2 super chat. Thank you so much, Hyper Guyver. We so appreciate it. Totally ready for some Monday night roar.
Monday night roar. That is no infringement on the WWE. Oh, thank you for that, Hyper Guyver. Then we had a couple more, and then I'm going to boot myself to the back, I think, here, because you ladies, I think, got a ton to talk about. Christian Coralejo sending in a nice $20.
Thank you. So generous.
And we'll save this one for Cameron later, if not too.
Yes, Christian Coralejo, thank you for that $20. Have any of you, including Kamran, seen the new Proud Family series? From what I've seen, it's genuinely funny. The new woke character gets called out on her BS in the first episode and addresses cancel culture in the second. I haven't had a chance to see it. I was a big fan of the original Proud Family show. So this one is actually on my docket to see. My sister did watch the first episode and she said she liked it so far.
I actually have something to add to this. Funnily enough, and you might remember this now, Lorena, Andre for a while knew somebody who was working on this show and kept asking anybody if they were interested in info on it because he knew it wasn't for our audience.
Mm-hmm.
And I think he did mention it to you eventually. But by that time, it had already kind of gone past, its usefulness because the show's out now. But yeah, we were kind of hearing this stuff that it was going to be one of the better shows out there in recent years with the whole woke business. So yeah, I'm not surprised at hearing this, Christian. I'm glad to hear it.
Yeah, because I've been looking forward to it. Like I said, the original one was absolutely hilarious. I loved it.
Revival, that's the word I was trying to think of. Reboot, revival, whatever you want to call it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I haven't had a chance to check it out. What about you, Michelle?
No, I haven't. I remember the original Proud Family. I didn't even know. So is this on Disney Plus?
Yes, on Disney
I think
Plus.
so, yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I hadn't even heard of it.
That's back.
Like all things.
Yeah. It's old
But-
as new again.
On this woke thing, it was kind of funny. I've never seen one of those Medea movies.
What?
Oh no.
Some of
No,
them are
I've never.
funny.
Oh my god.
And my housekeeper had one on today, and I caught a few bits of it, and I'm just like, whoa, holy shit, it's a brand new one. the one old guy, the one that Tyler Perry, when he plays the brother,
Mm-hmm.
he was talking about the kids being so woke. He's like, you kids need to go back to sleep. I'm like, this has got to be new because all the shit he was talking about, and yeah, I checked the thing and it was like, oh yeah, okay, this is that new one or whatever. I'd never seen one of those before. If you take out all the fucking soap opera drama bullshit, those are pretty funny.
Oh, they are. If you go back and you watch what's it? I think a Medea Halloween or something like
Yeah.
that. It's so many callbacks to like all of these horror movies that it's freaking hysterical.
Well, like, because the movie would
So
slow
funny.
down, like, because I was eating my lunch while it was on, and I'm like, what the fuck? Because like it would be fine with the Medea and when the other characters are on doing goofy stuff, but as soon as you would bring in the regular characters and they would start doing their normal, like story stuff, those actors are bad. I'm sorry. And it feels like I jumped into like some Lifetime movie all of a sudden. Then we get back to the good stuff. It's like it keeps bouncing between, but like
It is a lot of drama, but it's meant to
It
be
is.
dramatic. It's
Yeah.
for
that's what I said. You
dramatic
take all this soap opera shit out of this. This is pretty funny.
effect.
Especially
But anyhow,
this-
I don't know.
yeah.
That was just a random thought for today. Tom's random thoughts for the day. Thank you for that, Christian Corlejo. And we'll try to get back to that later when Cameron gets here. Dark King sent in another $2 from Australia.
Wow, Australia.
I think that's for you, Michelle.
see.
Oh,
Yes, go ahead, Michelle.
Dark King for the $2 for $6,000 you could get a pro do the Star Wars cosplay. Yeah.
You
yeah.
could go hang out with a rock band and all this other shit for $6. You could get like you could probably get Mark Hamill and
I could hang out with Alan Richardson.
you could get a couple of people probably from the Star Wars to come hang out at your house for $6,000. I know Clint Howard would be there in a heartbeat. What? $2,000 and some pot? I'm there.
Yeah, they could do that for way less than $6,000. Holy crap! Well, yeah, well, okay, probably like $1,000 for the actual cosplay, and then the remaining $5,000 to go travel with that.
You could do that too in that respect. Yeah, there's tons of shit you could do with this.
Totally.
It's
Totally.
ridiculous. Then we've got another one from Hillis, and this is lines right up with Halloween.
Perfect,
All
guys.
right, Hillis Mallory for a $2 super chat. Gotta roll those R's. Love it, Hillis Mallory. Thank you so much for that $2.
She even has her own button.
No.
Really?
It goes
I
on.
love
It's
that
longer.
I like it.
Oh,
It's
I
longer,
like
but
that.
Paulie needs to make it quieter. It blows your eardrums out at the end.
Man, I want Polly to like make us a video, like a little clip.
He probably
You
would.
should ask him to do it.
I really
he would.
do. Yeah, I think
He's
I
just like
will.
me. He's a big whore.
You just gave
What? You
me
need
an
me to do
idea.
something? All right.
We gotta talk. I just got an idea.
Oh, shit. I don't want to fuck that.
Thank you, Hillis
Shit.
Mallory. We love
It's
you.
all good.
Girls start working together, then shit goes out the door. Valiant Renegades in the house.
Hey,
All
Valiant.
right, thank you.
Thank you
Wow,
so
$20
much for the
so
$20
generous.
super chat. Thank you. Says, good evening, ladies. Lorena. And welcome back, Michelle. Oh, with the ugliest toxic femme I know, Tom.
How you doing?
It's not nice, Valiant.
Well, that's all right. We got to show this. We got to do it this week, Valiant. Hopefully you're able to do it. We got 4K for you. Hopefully coming back this week because we got a lot to talk about. He's watching Ghostbusters right now. He said in the chat. So yeah, we got some news. Yeah, thank you, Valiant, for that. And then we got we got that one already. Steven, who sends in $2, aka deleted scenes. Thank you for being here, Steven. I think that's on you, Lorena.
I just read one.
Did you? Okay,
Yeah.
Michelle.
Yeah, I did. So
back to me.
Turn. Yeah.
Yes, deleted scenes with the $2 super chat. Hell, ladies, Tom, chat, can't stay saying hello. Well, hello.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank
Hopefully
you
at least
so
got to hear that.
For that.
We got the last millennial here.
Yes, the last millennial for $4.99 super chat. Thank you so much, the last millennial. We do appreciate it. Lorena, love the hair.
Thank you.
Love the hair. Thank you so much. Force of light. Never seen you before, but nice to meet you. And love the hair.
Well, thank you.
Loves hair. I like that.
And she's only half the channel.
Yeah,
I know. We could have had more hair.
I know. Too bad she wasn't able to join you. Yeah.
Gorgeous red hair.
Yes.
You are loved.
I'm glad. Yes. And how you doing? You may be the last millennial, but you're the first millennial in my heart.
Oh.
And with that, I think we're going to put a pin in the super chat since I think they're ones that we can get to after the and one of them actually is for Cameron as well. Anyway, so we'll just save it for when he gets here. So let's break into the news. I'm going to get to the back and get out of your lady's hair for now. Speaking of the lovely hair that you have.
Speaking of that hair.
You all are just jamming it tonight with the hair. And here I am, this bald motherfucker.
We love you. Oh, the Galactic Star Cruiser, the gift that just keeps on giving, and like a bad sitcom, it just all burst forth on Friday at 9 a.m. when the embargo that Disney imposed on the reviews finally hit social media. And it's just been one of the most pathetically funny things I have ever seen in a long time. Just to kind of give folks a little background as to who these people who were invited. Yes, they were influencers like YouTube, TikTok, all of that, but not just any kind of influencers. These were the kind of influencers that Disney wanted because they think everything about Disney is great. Disney cannot do anything wrong, and they're very complimentary to the company. If you've ever watched any of Clownfish TV's videos, because they actually were on Disney's media list for quite some time, and they tell you how Disney is very much into making sure that you write nice things about them, use the right hashtags. They really don't take it too kindly if you don't say, good things about them. So the reviews that first started to come out on Friday were from those people who they brought to purposely say really good things about the Galactic Star Cruiser. So before I get to the first thing that I woke up to that told me pretty much how things were going to go. Now, Michelle, you have been to Galaxy's Edge. What were your impressions of Galaxy's Edge, just in a nutshell?
Well, I mean, for starters, I had a wonderful host in Drunk 3PO. But anyways, I really enjoyed it. I mean, obviously, there were things as I went through that I thought this was really stupid. To me, it should have been made like Tatooine. You could have then had every trilogy involved because they all were on Tatooine at some point. You could have, focused. Tom, you going to speak?
Oh, I'm sorry. I was waiting. No, this is how it works. I wait till you're done.
Gotcha.
I'm a man in my place.
Like they should have had like a ride for the prequel trilogy, original trilogy, and sequel trilogy. That's what, in my opinion, they should have done. But despite that, you still have a lot of fun. Rise of Resistance. Would I prefer it to be Vader and them? Sure, but it still is an amazing experience, and honestly, one of the funnest rides I've ever done. So I had a very good experience in a way with it. And that's where, like, I mean, I'm letting them know this so when we get into my thoughts on what we're seeing now, what I think about this. Because I do have a positive experience. Again, there's things I think they should have done and still could change and do that would make it a lot better. But it was, I mean, I genuinely had a smile on my face in all those rides and had a lot of fun.
No, I was just going to hop in and say, here's the thing with this whole thing that doesn't make any sense to me with Star Wars. Like you just said, Michelle, you could not only have done, a ride for each one of the films in the trilogy or each one of the trilogies, you could have literally done an entire Star Wars world have
Yeah.
each world set up with one from each movie, and you'll have basically like a whatever you want to call it, like a lobby area, which is like, you go into like Tatooine and you get to see the market. Then you go into the bar, and that's where you get to eat for the day. And you got, or you can eat there and you got drinks and stuff like that. And then you have a ride, which would be like the trench run from the Death Star or something like that for the first film. Then you move on to the second film, and you got Hoth, which is actually just a white sandbox, like, and all these things. And then you got like, like Yoda's hut you can go into for a cantina and a, something to eat and snack on. Like you could have this in each and everything, and you have a ride for each one. You could do that for each world and have that 6 to 9 worlds, all 3 things in each world. And how hard is that to set up? I just don't understand.
Well,
And that's a
That was
gold mine.
awesome.
but that was the original plan. And this is
Who
what I
doesn't
like
want
to
to eat
point
supper at
out.
Jabba's palace and watch Max Rebo Band play live?
They were talking about that. They were going to put in literally the Mos Eisley Cantina. Like, these were the plans before Kathleen Kennedy stepped in and said, we need to base it just solely on the sequel trilogy. And that's when everything shifted. Because for me, when I walk into Galaxy's Edge, I'm like, I can't tell exactly where this is supposed to be. If it's Star Wars, the only thing that tells me that it's Star Wars is when I walk over past Docking Bay 7 and I see the Millennium Falcon and I see Chewie walk out. And to me, that's cool to see, but that's the only thing that I really get that Star Wars like. Going on Smuggler's Run, now it is cool to go through there and it looks like you're inside the Millennium Falcon and you see like the chess table and all that stuff. It's cool. I think the graphics suck. I think the ride execution sucks, but your girl has an Imagineer brain. So I'm just like, they could have done this way better, than they did. Rise of the Resistance is an amazing piece of technology. Again, not executed extremely well, in my opinion, because of how often it keeps breaking down and the points where it can break down. But you really have to give it to them how well that ride is put together. It's just, lots of points for stuff that can break down. And it was released way earlier than it should have been in order to complete testing. But on the whole, when I walk into Galaxy's Edge, I don't feel really like I'm in Star Wars. And it seems people aren't quite sure kind of like what's really going on. But there's also a place within Galaxy's Edge, and they kind of get into it in this article where they're talking about things that were promised in Galaxy's Edge is now behind a $6,000 paywall. And what's behind that paywall now is all that interactivity that was supposed to be in Galaxy's Edge is no longer there. At least for Leans to go in there.
Can we point out before we get into that because you said something that made me think, oh my gosh, yeah, that's right. So not only do you walk into a place that is not a familiar planet from Star Wars, so not only did Kathleen Kennedy want it to be based in the sequel trilogy, she didn't even pick a planet in the sequel trilogy. She picked a planet that is literally in, I guess, a book that they made just because they named this planet in Galaxy's Edge this name. Like they...
How dare you? How dare you?
I mean, it really is. It's bizarre. If you wanted to go all in with the sequel trilogy, then name it a frickin' planet from the sequel trilogy. Make it Jakku or something. I don't know. I mean, this is just stupid.
It's got an identity
Yeah,
crisis.
go get her.
Yeah. You're absolutely right. It does have an identity crisis because people will walk in and I'm just kind of like, what is this supposed to be? And I heard one gentleman basically say, where's the old Star Wars stuff? If this is supposed to be Star Wars, I don't know what the heck it is. And people are looking around like, yeah, dude, I feel you. Really. I do. Because I don't know what the heck is going on here. But to go over before we go through this article, did you know that there is line dancing in space now?
You're 1, 2,
There you go.
6, 7, 8. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and shake.
Little
I'm sorry. It's not the wrong.
is
I got
that supposed to
distracted.
be
Sorry.
the achy
I thought it was
breaky or
dance class
the
there for a
electric
second.
slide? I can't freaking tell what that's supposed to be.
It's it's jump back sometime, round it up, do the cha-cha.
Charlie Brown.
Turn it out. Do. What's
This
back
was-
one time? I
this
can't
was
remember what the
literally
name of that.
First thing when I woke up Friday and I'm waiting for the embargo to lift, and this is what they show from the local television station. Now, does this look? This is a cast member. Does that look like Star Wars?
No.
Well, that's another
gosh,
whole
no.
question, right, Michelle? This is a question that the three of us are constantly asking ourselves because we all agree that we don't, not only does it not look like Star Wars, but we don't know what this looks like.
I know what
No.
this looks like. I'm an expert. That is line dancing, my friend. If I knew it, I've seen it a million times. I know it. My grandma taught it to my mama, who taught it to me. It's line dancing. It's a family tradition.
Oh, okay. Okay. I didn't
Because
know they were doing that in space. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
What? They're doing this in space?
Yes.
Well, that's just dumb.
when you go to, and I'm sure both of you agree, Michelle and Lorena, when you go to something that's Star Wars themed, you're not expecting someone to come back and tell you, like you would brag about what you saw. And line dancing might not be the thing that you might brag about. It might not be something that someone's expecting to hear you say that you did at a Star Wars attraction.
No, I would expect
No.
to learn like Twilight slave girl dancing. I could be down with that.
I don't think Disney's gonna be down with that, but
Yeah, I know, right?
Well, they're going down, but totally different.
Oh, Lord.
But even Max Rebo, guys, even Max Rebo, who was like one of my favorite characters, because I always just want to hug him. Like he
Mhm.
looks so squishy and huggable. I don't know why, but that ambiance, the ambiance of Star Wars, the ambiance of it,
Mhm.
this
Mhm.
dance, I'm not quite sure whether it captures that ambiance that we associate with let's say if they were trying to be innovative. Let's be innovative. We're creating a new dance. We're going to be innovative. This is a new experience here while you're there, and you're going to love it. It's going to make you feel like you're immersed in Star Wars.
Right.
Well, I'm gonna say it's like this is worse than the holiday special because the holiday special, at least their like musical numbers are so trippy that you're at least entertained by the trippiness of it.
There's more
Like,
value there.
exactly. Like this is just like boring and normal. Like you could just go out to the country and someone can teach you how to line dance much better than this. I mean, this
actually
is
used
a
to
joke.
DJ line dancing
Yeah.
classes, yes.
Look at it's oh.
Fun fact about Max Rebo, that's not his nose.
Wow. Now we know.
Oh, Max, I love you so much.
Ah.
Yeah, I think that this is something that once you see it, you're probably wondering like what it's not a VFW hall, but you might be wondering like where this is. Is this in a fitness center? Is it, because your first thought wouldn't be that's definitely like a Disney or Star Wars style location. It looks like maybe, what do you think? Does that look like a senior citizen center, maybe, like
That's exactly what it looks like. It looks like a senior citizen center. I mean, it's disconnected from the environment that they're supposed to immerse you in. Like say, case in point, all right, the Polynesian Resort at Disney.
Oh, I love
They
it.
have where you can take hula dancing lessons. that fits in with with the theme of the hotel. Here it's like they couldn't make up some kind of, dance from the myriad of races that they have in Star Wars to come up with something that's exotic, even if it was a line dance, something that was much more inventive. Shoot, call it the freaking Kessel Run. I don't care.
Doing the
But
Macarena and calling it Twilight dancing would be more exciting than this, because line dancing is lame as fuck.
this is the line dancing would only be interesting if this was at a convention and everyone was in cosplay. That would
But you're
work.
paying for this, Lorena. That's the thing. And
$6,000 entry.
yeah, and the funny thing is you talk about the, like, we did discuss this before the show about this basically being like an old folks home, like the kind of stuff they do there. You know what's funny is, I don't know if you got the clip ready for the bingo thing, but you'll see this thing isn't even this thing isn't even really handicap friendly.
Bingo, y'all ready?
Because if you know what I'm talking about, as you watch this bingo, keep your eye on the left side of the screen. There's a handicapped individual who's not allowed to hang out with the rest of the crew because of how this place is. See him there?
See?
Yeah.
Right back there.
And somebody told me it's because of the way that the floor is sunk in here. So he is unable to join the rest of the people. So this thing isn't even set up to be handicap friendly.
Oh god.
Okay, all right. Okay, that's a possible potential ADA lawsuit waiting to happen.
Because I guess what it is this area they're down in here is like a sunken living room type thing. And so he can't get down in there.
Oh my god.
That's what somebody explained to me, because I brought it up on the show the other morning. I'm like, are you fucking kidding me? This is Disney. This should be one of their first priorities.
Disney is one of the most ADA compliant places.
That's what I mean. Yeah.
That I've ever been. Even when I did work in grad school with them, they took a lot of pride in taking into account accessibility whenever they would build things. Even with the attractions that they have now, if you have disabilities, there's a way that they will work you into the line that's practically seamless. And I've always been impressed by that. So why they would purposely design something like this to have that kind of a barrier, that's an extremely bad look.
I mean, it's not like he's right nearby either. Look how far away he is.
Yeah, you can't he can't interact with the guests.
Well, and it makes you wonder, so do they are any of the rooms like handicap like capable? Because there should be some, and if there were, then they would know that they should build ramps for wheelchairs or with people with disabilities.
That just makes no sense to me, and that's extremely disappointing for a company like Disney. So basically, you have a cast member who has disability but can't interact with the other with the guests simply because of really, really, really bad design. This is pretty much inexcusable. Yeah, Hillis Mallory, Star Wars bingo. See. And you don't even have data pads or anything. You have these printed cards here and chips, not like hollow chips or anything like that.
Where are all the kids in this? Where are all the kids who want to have fun in Star Wars? Where are they?
They weren't invited.
Yeah, they cost too much. He said, "We're not bringing you. You cost too flipping much." I don't know, but that is a very good question. I know they did have kids separate activities, but probably didn't want to. I couldn't see if I was a kid to actually sit and watch this. Look, like a physical. Let me go back here. Like a physical bingo card. What kind of sense would that make in Star Wars?
I had said this before, that even your local VFW has tables and chairs for you to do bingo. They even provide, a table and chair, and they got a little coffee stand at the side with maybe somebody brought cookies or something. You even get some sort of refreshment there, but you have to put it on your lap to do the bingo. What is this?
I'll do you one better. You go into most sports bars now and you do these trivia games. They are more advanced than this shit. They got screens and all kinds of crazy shit. Mm-hmm. Why are they not doing each person sit down and have their own individual screen? And this would not cost a bunch of money either to set up, because it would just basically be fucking touchpads.
That's what I'm talking about.
And you have, instead of calling it Star Wars trivia, call it Star Wars history or something like that, or the Galactic history trivia or something like that. And you can even have a game like that. That to me sounds more exciting than this. This is fucking bingo.
This is lazy Imagineering because, like we
Exactly.
said, you could have a data pad. First of all, considering how much of an investment Disney has in Apple, not that expensive to come up with entry level iPads to use and retrofit to play bingo. And then make the game freaking relevant, like you were saying, Tom.
And ladies, you know what I would have liked to have seen in here is a casino.
Yeah.
I would have liked that too. I would have liked to see a casino like something straight out of Coruscant, actually. Like a dead-on replica of that. But then again, it comes down to the fact that this is really, really lazy Imagineering. It really is. I saw someone said not lazy, budget Imagineering. No, because you can have a restricted budget and still come up
Exactly.
with Imagineering to fix it. To me, that tells me that you have a lack of freaking imagination.
Yeah,
And that's what Imagineering's about.
Anyone who's ever done like a Star Wars themed party or, someone's birthday, put more effort into making, like going to the store and getting a cake that says Star Wars on it than this, right? I mean, honestly.
Totally.
Well, even like Culture Casino, who does like haunted houses, we had talked about just a few things that you could do on the cheap that they're not even utilizing here. This is Disney. This is the place where they basically invented animatronics and shit.
Yes.
Like, why isn't there a bunch of robots or droids, I should say, all over the fucking place?
Funny you should mention that, Tom, because we're going to get to that in the story that we talked about. But yeah, you can't tell me that the same company that put together Pandora, I don't know jack about Avatar. I don't know if I'm ever going to watch Dances with Smurfs. I don't know if I will ever watch that movie. But if you go into the Pandora section in Disney's Animal Kingdom Park, it is gorgeous. It is themed so well. Both of the attractions that they have, you don't have to know anything about the movies and you just feel immersed there. Even just walking around it feels great to be there, and you do not feel like you are on Earth. You feel like you are actually on Pandora. Exactly. There.
Not only that, it's one you should be able to take home, right? It should be one that they specially make for this, which makes it even more collectible, and it's cheap for Disney to produce. You should be able to walk home with this with the tablet, a lightsaber, and a bunch of other shit for $6 fucking grand. I'm sorry, this is just ridiculous. I don't even see where the money is being put into this or where the value for this is at all.
Because there
Michelle,
isn't
what were
any
some
value.
of the other things that you
Sorry,
noticed
go ahead,
about?
Gordon.
I'm sorry, Lorraine.
No, go ahead. Yes, good question.
Michelle, what were some of the other things that you noticed that stood out that seemed maybe a bit odd or misplaced in this whatever they're doing, let's say, that they're showing us here?
With this,
Yes.
I mean, I don't know. I mean, the whole thing just doesn't feel cool. I mean, it just feels the word I would say over and over is it just feels cheap.
Look at
like everything feels cheap.
Is that like a Post-it dot?
It is. Yeah, it's like it is.
Yeah, those are the kind of dots that you'd put your price on at a fucking rummage sale. That's exactly what it is.
All the colors don't match too. Like they don't complement each other. Like it's kind of, oddly positioned. You get designers in there and they have a color wheel and they say, okay, this is going to be somewhat more of a brighter, lighting scheme or whatever. And these are the colors we're going to be focusing on. And then everything kind of coordinates with it. Right. But this doesn't really feel cohesive even.
Well, and I just think too, it's like people who are going to do this, they're big Star Wars fans. They're coming to be immersed in Star Wars. Right. What from Star Wars makes you think of this?
Nothing.
No, nothing. It's like, is that really what people want to do for $6,000, or would they rather do something, have some experience that makes them feel like they're a part of Star Wars, like actually doing something?
Yeah.
I can't imagine. And I harp about imagination because your girl actually wanted to be an Imagineer. Okay. Like for years, I would because all the times I've been to Disney and some of the Imagineers, I've followed their work. I've got books on Imagineering, and it's an art and a science, and it's about immersing everything, putting you into that experience where not only you see it, you feel it, you taste it, you smell it. It's an experience that you take with you. And it seems like with this is like a half-ass show that they put on. And I think all we'd have to do is stamp Star Wars on it and people will buy it. Yeah, you have some people that will, but you're not getting that experience. It's not like, say, with Star Wars weekends. Folks in the chat will know what I'm talking about. It wasn't like there where you could go into, into Star Tours. They had Tatooine Traders, this like gift shop at the end of the attraction. It was so chock full of stuff and chock full of people that they had to open another place called the Launch Bay just to accommodate people. And you felt everything felt Star Wars in there to you. And that is it's completely missing here.
Well, and I don't know if you were going to get into this later, so we can wait if you are, but it's just like, okay, so let's say that's for somehow there's enough people to fill this up every night for a year.
Mm-hmm.
But like, what is the like revisibility with this? Like, how often are you going to want to go back to it? Because if people don't go back to it, it's not going to be profitable long term. And I just don't. I mean, they can even change the experience a little, but who's really going to want to do this again?
They're really you bring up a very good point, Michelle, and I'd actually talked about this with people. I can't see this as being viable. When it first came out, when it was first announced, I'm like, oh, this is great. So it's like a Star Wars hotel. So it's probably going to be themed like the other deluxe resorts that are, at Disney, except it's, it's Star Wars themed. But the way that I have it set up now, the only thing I can see is this eventually becoming like, say, a day attraction where
Yes.
you like pay a cover charge and you go in to do all of this Star Wars stuff and then you leave, or they wind up pricing it like one of their regular deluxe hotels and just give you, a flat, price. You check in just like it's some regular hotel and just do it that way, because I cannot see this as a viable model at all. Because if you go once and you do one storyline, are you going to drop another $6,000 to $8,000 to do it again?
No.
And we've seen a certain level of excellence, like both of you said, at the Polynesian or at the Floridian. I'd love to go back. I even like to hang out in the lobby in those hotels. Like if I'm not staying in a room, or I can get some sort of reservation at one of their restaurants, it's exciting. This is just doesn't capture that level of excellence that we've been seeing from a place that handles resorts professionally.
Yeah.
No.
Well, and I
I
see
mean-
some people talking about the price being in like the staff and all that, which is true. I get it. But like they've pulled off like the Indiana Jones stunt shows and all these other things like that. I'm seeing none of that here. It's like, I get it. This is a 2-day experience and you're not going to be able to pack every great thing into 2 days, right? You're going to have some lulls and moments for whatever. But when the highlight is this cosplay fucking fight between Kylo Ren and
I don't.
Mare Sue and this shit here, like, why is this a thing? Why isn't this the Cantina band or the Max Rebo band? This makes no fucking sense.
I
want
really-
It's
Max
totally
Rebo.
Fifth Element. Sorry, I agree with that.
No, it totally is. And I
love him so
really
much.
can't say that I 100% agree with it's like, oh, it's because of the staffing. Because there are smaller hotels on Disney property, like for example, the Grand Floridian. Okay, even though they don't have this like show element, it's not $6,000 for 2 nights and part of a morning. So even if you knocked it down to say like 3,000, maybe you can get away with it. But I can't really say that I agree that it's because of the staffing. Maybe partly to do with actors' equity, maybe. But if that's the case, why are you going to price it like a hotel? Why don't you just price it like a day attraction and do it that way instead? I think people would rather pay, like say you pay your $200 or whatever, and you're here like for what, 8 hours, and you pay a la carte for all the extra stuff that you want, and maybe there's an option to stay there and you pay $500 a night, but that's completely up to you. You're not locked into say $6,000, because I can't see paying $6,000 for this. Granted, the cast members, they seem to be, really into I can't tell if she's trying to channel Tina Turner or not. I don't know. The DJ, I'm loving the DJ back there. I'm just saying. Can you see the look on people's faces? Like, what are we supposed to be
They are. They don't know what to do.
looking at here? It's like they don't know. Okay, this guy, I think he used to be in the Blue Man Group. I really do. I really do. That
It
part's
almost
actually pretty cool.
It almost looks like a cafeteria.
It does. No, it definitely does.
I agree. It does. It doesn't look like some grand, performance. It really is. Look at Tom's like, what the heck? That's what I'm saying. Blue Man Group, see? You just have two performers in here. I would think that if I'm going in something like this, there should be a bunch of them, a bunch of different aliens
And
walking around.
I don't blame the cast members because they're just doing what they're being told to do. This
Exactly.
is their job, and they said perform this, and this is what they're doing. We know these cast members are talented people. They don't just pick anybody to be a cast member. I've seen them do some amazing things. I've seen them do backflips off of platforms and do all sorts of amazing stuff. So we know these cast members are really talented. They can sing very well. They can do amazing stunts. They put in the time. They're out there in the park when it's like 90 degrees, but they're still dressed up as characters. We know these guys are as tough as nails. So I certainly don't have any qualms against any cast members. I have so much respect for them, but they deserve better than this.
They
They
really
deserved a lot better than this.
do, especially the entertainers, the cast members. I keep using the term actors equity. Basically, it's like SAG for the Disney actors. If you're a face character that actually speaks and performs, that's part of what they call actors equity. And those cast members are absolutely amazing. Doing what they do, and you just kind of feel bad that this is like what they're stuck with. And I don't know if you ladies notice this or not. The energy level just seems low with
Oh,
the
yeah.
guests. No one looks like, for like case in point. When I would be at Hollywood Studios and I would be over near Star Tours, when Darth Vader would walk out, people lost their freaking minds. People were just like, stop, stare, whatever. Just the energy was there. And it's not here, which is really sad.
Well, it's just like, and who wants this? Who asked for this? I'm a huge, clearly, I've been a Star Wars fan my whole life. Who wants to watch this? There's one thing people wanted to do as far as food is concerned with Star Wars, and that is walk into a cantina and hear
exactly.
That's what we wanted. We didn't want this with some song that they've made up. It's just stupid.
I wanted to see Han Solo shoot Greedo because Han shot first. We all know that. I wanted to see that. Have him flip the bartender a coin and say sorry about the mess.
Yeah. I'm going to add to both of your comments. I wanted to see the characters just in general in the park.
Exactly.
I want to see you, as you had mentioned, Lorraine. I want to see Darth Vader walking around. I want to see stormtroopers walking around. I'm sorry about this, but I do want to see Grogu kind of like hanging out on a rock somewhere. I want to see all these fun things that we know.
I said last night on Valley 8 Renegade stream, I said for $6,000, both parks should have already have two exact replicas of the Grogu child and have someone at each park that can operate the child. Like literally, people should be able to take a picture with Grogu, like
animatronics coming in again. How hard is it?
I think there was one that was a freaking animatronic. I want to say I saw it somewhere.
Like I feel like that, but I'm feeling like if for $6,000, man, I better get literally an exact replica of Grogu that I get to take a picture with.
The Mandalorian crew, like on breakfast on it's not there anymore, the Razor Crest or whatever they want to call it, breakfast with Grogu and friends or whatever it is.
Exactly.
I even want to see C-3PO come out and basically ask if you need his protocol services
and
have him
$6,000. You know, I take that back. You know what, Lorena, you're onto something there. For $6,000, each guest should have their, or at least family should have their own individual protocol droid to take them through this shit.
Yeah.
Perfect.
Then I'd be like, that's worth $6,000. Having some motherfucker, poor guy, get dressed up in one of those outfits every damn day to come around and drag my ass around this hotel. Bless him.
Wow, that
Oh
would be
man,
amazing.
Or
That
her.
would be
even
amazing.
the fact of, hey, you go down to dinner, and as soon as they open up the door, there's Darth Vader.
Right?
Yeah, like and you're like,
Yeah.
pull out your
You know,
It
and
could
it's
be that
just-
fucking room from Empire where he's standing down there and they're gonna have dinner.
yes.
Remember?
yeah.
Do you know what? Do you know
Joys.
what? Actually, guys, yes. That's the look that they should have gone for with this hotel.
Yes.
Vespa.
Oh,
Oh my
yeah,
God.
Veston,
That
yeah.
would have been freaking awesome. Like that
Yeah.
that place was gorgeous. It would have
Mhm.
actually made for a nice modern hotel that still felt Star Wars.
You're
Why
right.
the heck did
All
anyone
the
think of this?
light,
And
the
they could have had
ships
Lando
that would
there.
go by. Yeah,
Lando's
with
like,
them with the
wait, you guys
okay.
can't go. You have to follow me. Something's
Yes.
happening on the base right now. Everybody's got to come with me right now. And then
Yeah,
if, like there
Lobot
could be
could have
like an
been that
attack and be like,
DJ.
oh my
Mhm.
god, you know, like
Lobot's always we know he like moonlights as a DJ anyway.
Yeah, we
so.
know that.
You don't dress like that and not.
Mm-mm. Nah.
He's
But
the
it's-
founding member of
Daft Punk.
Punk.
No joke.
Michelle, I
When
would
I
love to
first
have
saw
seen
God damn you,
that would
Lorraine.
have
When I
been-
first saw Daft Punk, that's the first thing I thought.
And what we're looking at would have matched. This could have been transformed into that from what we're
Yeah.
seeing. Like let's say the
Absolutely.
bones of what we're seeing is perfect for that, Michelle.
Well, and you guys asked about where all the kids are. Well, of course, these are all influencers, right, Lorena?
Yes, they are influencers. Some, I guess, were allowed to bring their
YouTubers.
families. I saw some pictures. Yeah, YouTubers, TikTokers.
I actually have a review
Okay.
from two of the oldest influencers
Really?
ever. Yeah. These guys are two of the original influencers.
Oh,
Ooh.
And this is their feeling on this.
The fuck?
Yeah, really fuck.
OG influencers, Beavis and Butthead, folks. There you go.
I have to watch that new show when it comes out. I freaking love Beavis and Butthead. Oh man, but wait, there's more. Remember that blue and disgusting green milk? I've never tried it.
Ugh.
I heard it was disgusting that they
Listen,
serve
I
over
actually
Galaxy's
don't
Edge.
mind the blue. I don't
Yeah?
mind it. It's kind of refreshing.
Ah,
Have you
okay.
actually had it? How's it taste?
Well, it's kind of icy. Like that's why it's kind of refreshing. It's not just like blue milk. It's like an icy. I
Oh,
don't
okay.
know.
Because they had Mark Hamill drink it and he said it tasted oily or whatever. Or was that the green one?
The green is a little slimy. It's a
Okay,
little
maybe that was
slimy.
they had him drink. It's like Good Morning America or something like that, and he was like,
Yeah, he
"Eh."
kind of looked like he wanted to puke. I don't. But you can get it from the tap on the Galactic Star Cruiser now.
For all the blue milk you can get.
All the blue and green milk you can drink,
Yep.
literally. I guess it fits in with the. Let's put it this way: butterbeer at the Wizarding World of Harry Potter. Okay, people can't get enough of that. There's lines
Really?
all over the place. Yes, there's lines at the butterbeer cart. There's lines at the little, kiosks where you can go and get them. Everybody's getting butterbeer. They're selling that stuff for about $8 to $12 a pop, and people can't get enough of it. It's frozen butterbeer from the tap, hot butterbeer ice cream, frozen butterbeer. Everybody keeps drinking it and talks about how great it is, because it is. I had it. It's absolutely delicious.
Wow.
I want some that spike, but I haven't had a chance to get that yet. But that butterbeer is as integral to Harry Potter as, we'll say, blue milk, because I don't recognize green milk. Blue milk is to Star Wars. So the fact that they couldn't make that kind of like, I guess, some people like it, some people don't, but mostly what I've heard is pretty negative about the blue milk. But I
And
would think that you would at least get that right for mass appeal.
What about the spotchka? I mean, is that a relatively new invention, or is it something
Spotchka.
that
Hey, Chris, Butterbeer with a shot of
Chris?
Jameson. Oh, that
Okay, yeah.
sounds delicious. I'd sneak my own in the theme park and do that. Oh, sorry. You were saying?
Spotchka, which is like I guess maybe I'm assuming it's a drink that has alcohol in it, but it was like a newer drink, Spotchka that was made in the Mandalorian. I don't know whether it's found anywhere else in the lore, but we saw it in the Book of Boba Fett. So it's kind of like been brought in as a drink that people are drinking, But I was just kind of curious, and I'm wondering if you're going to be leading into the menu, Lorena, as we.
You guys wanna look at the?
Yeah, let's look at that food, man.
Let's look at this. Release them at Kraken. Considering how much they're charging for alcohol, you want to hit the ABC liquor store before you show up. At the Galactic.
I love it.
I
love it.
I'm just saying. So yes, there is food aboard the Galactic Star Cruiser, and let's see. I definitely do not want kale porridge. Haven't heard of that. Daily sweet, but however.
Lorena, can you just pan up just a second, just a little bit for one of the things? I thought I saw the word worms.
Yes, sausage, gravy, and egg worms.
That's disgusting.
That is disgusting. Like who wants that? No one.
Is that the kids' menu?
Good luck trying to get your kid to eat that after they eat this.
I'm like, you can't do like because you guys have heard of like cup of dirt, right? Or worms and dirt.
Yes.
Little kids' dessert has like chocolate chip cake and cookies, and it's got gummy worms in it.
Yes.
That probably be too inventive, I guess.
It says egg worms, so it's probably just strips of fucking eggs, but still. It's just nasty sounding. I'm sorry.
They probably poured it in a mold is probably what they did.
or whatever. Yeah, exactly.
Ooh. Still, sausage, gravy, and egg worms. Nah.
Unless it's noodles. Could be egg noodles.
Egg noodles for breakfast?
They're weird.
They're extremely freaking weird. I mean,
this
was weird when the first thing that I saw when they released the food menu was flipping blue shrimp. Would you eat this? This looks spoiled to me.
It's making my eyes hurt.
You
weird.
I mean, look.
Really disappointing.
It's just basically blue dyed shrimp. And you're right, Laura. You would have no way of telling it went bad if it like.
No, you couldn't tell. It's there's no indicator now because they dyed it, or whatever they did to it. Whatever that
smell,
is.
maybe, but
I wouldn't be surprised if they used like a one of those Sharpie on it. Like knowing these guys, I just don't trust it anymore.
Cover it up, quick.
Well, I would assume you'd almost have to like literally inject it, wouldn't you?
Yeah, you would, but
I mean,
guys.
that shrimp looks so disgusting. I may never eat shrimp again. Like that's it scarred my brain.
It's I don't know if that's
there is something that looks very beautiful.
Okay, they
here,
broke
though.
up the shrimp tail. Oh, what would that be?
That is the view from Kamran Pasha's.
Hello, Kamran.
Oh my God! Look at that beautiful, gorgeous view.
Look at that sunset.
Look what we've given you, Cameron. This delicious
look at this
sunset
right now.
I love your sunset.
The sun's good right now. That's just beyond the trees there.
That's what you pay for,
I
not the
love
place,
that.
not the property, not the space, but the view.
That is correct. And let's just say paying for it the last couple of years hasn't been that fun, right? It's a crazy world we're in. But no, I've got three incredibly lovely ladies and Tom who vanished, but I know he's around. So Lorena, Force of Light, it's so wonderful to be here.
Yes,
and you did this great thing with my friend Valiant just yesterday. Wow, what a wonderful video you guys did.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, we had a lot of fun.
And always the feminine of the toxic family, but we've got three feminine of the toxic families. This is not really a masculine vibe here. Yeah, I get it. Tom and I bring it. So why do we have this blue shrimp here? What's going on?
Oh, this is the food.
We want to know if you're going to eat this.
I think this may not be halal. I think probably isn't kosher. I don't think the shrimp in general is kosher. Blue shrimp probably isn't kosher either. Muslims argue about whether shrimp is halal. I'm thinking this might not be halal.
Definitely not kosher, and even if you even if kosher wasn't a thing that you're concerned about, this just looks so nasty.
You know,
I
like,
love
people have
shrimp,
food
but
allergies
there's just
to
no way.
food coloring. They actually have food allergies to stuff
That's
like
a good
this.
point.
I mean, do you know what they made the shrimp there looks like you're taking an alien, like from the franchise Alien.
it's like an alien
dinner
brain.
thing. Yeah, like
I mean,
that's
what
what it
blue
looks like. It's
feels like
from.
a brain. It doesn't feel good.
1 second.
All right, relax.
Oh my
No, this is
Oh
no,
my
it's like this. This is from that that fake Star Cruiser thing. Is that what?
Yes, that's exactly it. So this is the
Yes.
lovely cuisine that you are paying $6,000
Why
to
can't
start
they do anything right on this?
to
I don't
get.
understand. Why can't they do one thing right on this? I don't understand.
I
How is
don't
it possible that everything they do is wrong? That actually violates the odds. It's mathematically impossible.
It's almost like they want it to fail.
Yeah, that might actually be kind of what's going on.
I would agree, because why would isn't the point of food is to make it so delicious that people just want to keep eating it? Like you want your friends to go and say how great this place was, how good the food is, because usually on the whole, dining at Disney is a very, very wonderful experience. I don't know if they got all the cooks who flunked and couldn't make it in the other restaurants at Disney to put something together, but this is not appetizing. That looks a little bit, recognizable. This here, this radish, this is some kind of steak thing, but this radish thing here, they serve at the Docking Bay 7 quick service restaurant. I actually had a salad.
Why is there salami on top of it?
I don't know.
Why would you do the salami thing?
It's I don't.
Oscar Mayer had a.
No, that's a radish. Believe it or not,
that's a radish. It looks like a salami.
I know, right? But they dye it so it looks like that. Yeah, because I had Endorian chicken salad. I don't know if it was made from Ewoks or not.
Did it taste good?
It tasted very good.
But
it was very good. But
the strips of vegetables don't look good, and it's on some kind of sauce. But that type of steak, I wouldn't put it on the sauce. I put the sauce on the side.
Yeah, if you want to dip or whatever.
Yeah.
And then the herbs on it. Maybe it's mashed potatoes, Lorena, but the herbs that are on top of it all look kind of dead and wrinkly. They're not fresh herbs or whatever that is, the garnish, if you will.
That's like ugly watercress. I think it looks wilted.
Sensual. Food for me, I'm a foodie. I'm sort of amateur foodie, but I mean, I just love food, and it's got to be a sensual experience.
There's nothing. I mean, look at this. It's like dried out purple.
I can't figure out what some of it is.
It's like baby food. I'm probably insulting baby food.
But they just took some Gerber stuff and tossed it in. I don't know.
Yeah. And Sandra, that's what I was gonna say. If it looked like polenta, I call it Italian grits. Because I tried polenta and I thought it was something exotic, and when I tasted it, I was like, "This is Italian grits." I've had grits.
Nobody would throw a steak on it like that. They probably put it on the side, like a round circle or something, and put something nice on the top of it next to your steak.
It's like there's no imagine. Me too, Hills Mallory.
Waiting for that rabbit chicken.
The rabbit chicken stew. Oh my gosh! If Gordon Ramsay went through this place,
no, it's over.
I'd pay to watch that.
Yeah,
that's worth $6,000.
It's here now.
This is food shaming, but I think we should food shame. I think
when it looks like that,
I'm going to go out on a limb, and I think he's accusing Disney of doing so.
Oh,
that would
if I'm wrong, I apologize.
The food rather than us shaming the food.
I think that's what he's saying. Yeah,
we're shaming them, so there's a lot of shame around.
They should be ashamed.
What the heck is this?
A fucking Jello wheel.
I thought it was like a car part, but
I mean, what is
like
that?
You could just roll it down the corridor.
It's a fucking Jello wheel.
Are these chocolate chopsticks? What is?
I have
like
no
an
idea.
I don't know.
Can you imagine? Like,
is it a jawbreaker or something?
Can you imagine thinking this presentation is pretty? Like, they've arranged this in a way that they think this is a great picture. Like, are you kidding me?
I mean, we're living in this bizarro, I would like to believe, brief moment in history when it's just like phone it in culture. Nobody's trying anything. It's just phone it in. Like, oh, yeah, whatever. Here
But
we
it's
go.
also, but Cameron, it's also like, and ladies, it's also back to a culture where people take photographs of food and brag about how wonderful the plate was, and
Yes.
look at what I had. Even soup, they're like, oh, I just had this incredible, Thai soup, and you can't tell that it tastes wonderful, but it looks good. And people will send those photographs in. It's just such an oddity to have something like this that feels so subpar to what you might just get at the local gyro place that
Yeah.
look more appetizing and tasty.
I've just never seen Disney food look this unimaginative, like ever.
Yeah.
Usually when I'm at Disney, I mean, it's just the food is just amazing. I mean, I was just at the arts festival that they had at Epcot, and they had the little food kiosk, and they had one that was themed to Encanto, the movie Encanto. And they had like this spicy soup that looked gorgeous. It had like saffron threads in it, it had avocado, and it had tomatoes, and just a shimmery broth on it with herbs on it, and it had like corn in it, and the presentation, the dollop of creme fraiche, and it just looked absolutely beautiful for like $6.
Can we safely say, Lorena, that maybe this is not the same caterers?
I would maybe not the same.
Maybe it's a contractor.
You could be right. You could very well be right that it's a separate contractor, that they're not part of Disney Food Services as a whole, and they outsource that because they've outsourced housekeeping at Disney. They've outsourced valet parking. It wouldn't surprise me if they did that, because one of the biggest problems with hiring a subcontractor is they don't always give you the standard that you want. But
Michelle, what do you think? Do you think this could be like a contracted kind of food service that's bringing in this whatever this is?
I mean, it definitely could be, because I mean, again, it's a little bit above par from like school lunch. I mean, so it's just it's awful. It can't just, again, I think why we're all so critical of this is it's $6,000 for 2 nights.
Yes.
Exactly.
I've been to the hotels that they're value resorts that are like $200 a night, and you go to the food court and it's like eating gourmet food between Italian food, Asian food,
Well,
flatbreads, just everything, even
considering
the
the
fried
show they
chicken.
give you, I even brought up that I've went to dinner theaters that are cheaper than this, and you get much better food and a better show. You get an entire show. You get a whole Shakespeare play or whatever, they're doing that night, and you get a great meal, and it's like under $100 in some cases. Per person, that is. But I mean, yeah.
Exactly. Here's the other interesting thing. So we had actually talked before that if you go on the Galactic Star Cruiser, that you can buy outfits and lightsabers and all of that. Well, they're already flipping them on eBay now.
I don't know. I mean, I'm just at this point like,
Man, I wish I could have been there.
I think that the thing's just gonna have to crash and burn, and it's already crashing and burning real hard. And and I've said this, that I'm of the opinion that what is happening behind closed doors, in Burbank right now is, Susan Arnold's going, what is this garbage on my plate that I have to deal with? And we're looking at garbage on people's plates. She's like, what is this actual garbage on my plate? I just showed up here 6 weeks ago. I personally am open to the belief that she's probably at least lectured some people about how they've mishandled things before she comes. That's what new bosses do when they're trying to clean up a situation. She's like, what is this crap? You guys been working on this for 5 years, and this is the garbage you're putting out there, right? If we're not happy with it, and I don't present myself as and I don't think any of the ladies here, really present themselves as negativos for the sake of negative. I want to like things. I know, Lorena, you were always, I like this about Disney, I like this about the parks. You're a very passionate supporter. I don't want to not like things. And I'm like, what is this crap? Nothing I've seen from this is at all enticing. So what is this garbage? And so I'm sure that Ms. Arnold is like, all right, fix this crap now, because this is obviously not at the quality of our company.
No, not at all. And it's so
But it is the quality of
Right.
what they've done with Star Wars for the most part, where they spend a lot of money and it's cheap and shiny looking and has no heart and isn't good.
Mhm. Speaking of cheap and shiny looking, I don't know if you ladies have seen this. This is
Oh,
probably
I've
the
seen it.
epitome of how bad this is. So this is the lightsaber fight between Rey and Kylo Ren. The fight that was originally supposed to be in Galaxy's Edge. And they took that out and put it behind a paywall. So here's what
Galaxy's Edge still exists? Is that real?
look at we're missing. I'm actually going to mute it right here.
Can you big the screen? Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, so they got something going on here.
Yeah. So
Okay.
that's the chandelier that came down.
Okay. Chandelier looks kind of wacky. All right.
There's
Yeah.
other ones out there. You actually missed one of the more important parts of this because they have this
Which
shot of her
one
extending the
started?
lightsaber, and then she does this stupid move where she like kneels down. And
Yeah.
so she can grab the other lightsaber because the one
Mhm.
that actually does the light up is an expensive one that you can't use and it will break.
Right.
So they have to switch out the lightsaber during the
And
fight.
that's why
And
the
it's very
chandelier falls,
obvious.
to distract the audience.
Mhm.
Yeah.
But people actually saw it. I don't think. Yeah, Pirates and Princesses doesn't have it here, but yeah, I know what you. Wait a minute, let's see. No, I'm gonna still miss that one. Okay.
They're not supposed to
Wait,
film.
here it is.
I
This
think
is what
that's
I was
it,
looking
yeah.
for. This
All right.
one is it.
What's going on here? What's happening?
So I'm gonna blow it up for you guys. So watch here where
Yeah,
that
watch
door
Rey.
is. Yeah, watch Rey. Keep your eyes on. I know. Sorry. Keep your eyes on Rey for this one.
Ray.
So here she is.
All right, you got her.
Lights up. And
Lights
she
up.
drops it on the floor.
Wait, what happens?
It froze up there for a second, but yeah, she actually drops it on the
Yeah,
floor.
see,
at the
she
end.
drops it.
And does a switch.
Obviously puts it down. Yeah, see? That one lights up. She puts it down, then picks up the stunt saber. Because
So
the one
that thing is
lights
not
up is
that
too
thing is like some
delicate.
kind of plasma thing that actually does go up. but you can't
Exactly,
fight it.
yeah, and you can't
Mhm.
use it to
Yeah.
fight. Yeah, and it's really
Yeah.
expensive, I guess. Yeah.
It's expensive, and that
So-
light only works at a certain angle, and it's such a small
So they're
radius,
doing
you
a
can't
fake out,
move it.
a switch out.
Yes.
It's like
That's
sleight of
right.
hand, but it's
A practical
obviously sleight of
effect
hand.
fake out, but not with any hidden.
It's so
You can still see the wires and all that
obvious.
stuff.
It's really bad. It's like on South Park when Jesus was going to change water into wine, and he's like, "Okay, now everybody turn around."
Yeah. Because you see it. It's like she lights it up. Okay, she lights it up, then obviously puts it down, and then picks up the stunt saber.
Yeah, it's not
Right.
smooth at all.
No, it's very clumsy. So there isn't even the illusion
No.
that the one that she lit up
All
is
you
the one
had
that
to
she was
do
fighting with.
was simply have the actor who plays Kylo Ren put his arm up to trigger one of the guys in the back to do a spark over Rey's shoulder there.
Yeah.
Have her duck like she's trying to duck from the
And then
spark
she could switch
and the
them.
force thing, and she can switch it out. Very simple. Like you could come up with a million ways to do it.
You
It just
should
looks so funny.
choreograph this, Tom. And-
Exactly. Lazy
Well, I think they
fight
think because you're down
choreography.
there. I mean, it's also this angle's kind of weird. I mean, I don't think it looks great to be that in this kind of distance looking up like that. It's not great for your eyes to see what's going
Mhm.
on. So the whole setup is weird. So maybe they think people aren't going to notice it, but if we can sing on a video, people did notice it.
Tons of people notice this. And it's just it's again, I go back to lazy imagineering. If you're going to suspend reality, you need to have follow through with that, along with great, fight choreography. And they didn't do that with this. So the illusion was lost.
I have a little story I don't know if I ever shared. So one of my closest friends, is we went to business school together 20 years ago, and he was also like me, not someone who's really an MBA type, and I was like a weirdo writer, and he was like a weirdo crazy guy with crazy inventions guy, right? And we were both there, not quite fitting in, and then the Richard Cook, who was at the time the head of Disney, right, came.
Mhm.
Rich Cook came to speak, and and my friend got so excited because Cook was talking about Imagineers and stuff they were doing. And so he's sitting with, in our MBA class, raising his hand and saying all stuff. And Rich, you could see, was getting more and more interested in this guy's ideas. And finally, at the end of the class, he's like, yeah, you come, I want to talk to you, right? He offered him a job right there. So my friend went to work that summer for the Imagineers and said it was the most, this is 2001, so it was the most incredible experience of life. He said it was the most brilliant people he had ever worked with, visionaries, scientists, artists, choreographers, dancers. They had it was everything. And he said he never experienced anything like it. Yeah, it's kind of sad to see where it is now.
So it's so sad and so disappointing, especially since I said earlier, I think, Kamran, before you came in, one of the things that I wanted to do was actually become an Imagineer for Disney. A lot of people did, and and I did. So it's like to see the quality of it go down and to see Imagineers leave. It's just it's absolutely horrible. But are we overly critical? I don't think that we are. Because there's a
Not for
certain
the
quality
price.
of show.
Yeah, not for the price.
Exactly.
If this was just a couple $100s or something like that, I could see your point, Stan, and totally agree with you. Like, yeah, we're being a little too fucking harsh on
If
this.
this was
And if
Six
it was like
Flags,
a children's, themed Star Wars party,
Yes.
where you yourself have gotten everything together, and you're the one who's doing this whole show, and you got the cake, you ordered the cake, all that stuff, you got the goodie bags for the kids. Yes, go ahead. We don't care if there are little things like that, but for something for that price,
for $6,000 though, you can party
it's not
in
okay.
it for a night in Vegas with the band Kiss and like 3 hookers.
For $6,000, forget that. For like even $100 and probably a case of beer, they could have coordinated that fight better. In reality,
But no, I mean, that's a fair question, Stan. Totally fair question. But but in this case, with the amount of money that they're charging for people for this, I think that the criticism is completely rational and justified.
I mean, my sister, thank God, God bless her. She's got a little bit of money, but that's a big price for her too. And I don't, and look, they're normies, but I don't think they would be entertained by the stuff or like the stuff that I've seen. So, I mean, I don't think they put down that kind of money for it.
There's something else too, and I think one of you had already mentioned this, but in regards to these equity guys who are doing the show, it's almost as if like, here, we didn't discuss this, but you're going on in 5 minutes. This is what you're going to do, and and they're like, oh, okay. Okay, and even the guy who plays Kylo, like he's not as, Kylo was very ominous and he was big and he had this sort of like, he kind of leaned in, like, you know what I mean? Like,
it's all the chest.
A very lean in kind of feel. And the guy who's playing, or whoever, it might be a girl who's playing that Kylo, but you're not getting that intimidation between the two of them. It's almost like they're just, hanging out and someone pops out a lightsaber.
Kind of playing.
Yes,
that's
that's what it
like a
felt
fencing thing. There isn't the sense, and granted, it's also part of the awkwardness of that space, that balcony, right? The balcony, when you have real lightsaber battles like Luke versus Vader, or Qui-Gon and Obi-Wan versus Darth Maul on these planks, these balconies, it's really scary. But that just feels like a limited space it's almost encaging. It doesn't feel right.
There's a point actually to that, Kamran, and something that I wanted to bring up, especially with this article where they're talking about stuff that was promised in Galaxy's Edge was sitting behind now a $6,000 paywall. In Galaxy's Edge, and Michelle knows exactly what I'm talking about. That part where Kylo Ren comes out, there's like that stage. There's also that entry that comes from the Galactic Star Cruiser. You notice there's like scaffolding areas around there. That fight that went down on the Galactic Star Cruiser was supposed to take place in Galaxy's Edge. One of the things that's missing from Galaxy's Edge is that immersive entertainment.
Sure.
And they took that out because that's one of the things that makes Disney parks, the theme parks, come alive, is when you have that interactive entertainment, and it's not there. It's not there. For example, here, I'm sorry, go ahead.
No, you're right. All I was going to say is that I still, if I ever go to the park, I know that as soon as I see the floating teacups, I'm going to see Alice walking around at some point.
Yeah.
And I still always act surprised, even though I know every single time she's going to be there. I go, oh, it's Alice. And my mother goes, oh, and I'm like, yes. Like, I still enjoy that. Like, I still get that enjoyment. It means something. And it's kind of representative of the sort of stuff we expect from Disney.
Yeah,
Exactly.
we
So
should expect it because they are capable of it. They have done it. They have a legacy of multiple generations of surprising us, entertaining kids, and making adults feel like kids again. No reason to hold them below that standard.
And
Nice.
Stan, as far as the actors go, like I just brought this up a little bit ago. I think it's relevant in a sense. Like, you go to a dinner theater. I've seen the prices for those. They are putting on an entire show with actors, all that stuff, plus a meal. And in a lot of those cases, you can get the per person like less than $100, maybe 150 in that range. Like, there is no reason price wise that and the show it's not like it's an hour show. We saw most of the show in the video. It's literally like a 15-minute presentation, roughly, you would say, right, Lorena, somewhere in there?
Yeah, about that for Gaia's show, actually. And that's actually another thing. That whole thing with Gaia was actually supposed to be in Galaxy's Edge too.
Well, that and then so like you got those two, and then you got the Raylo fight. So like right there, that's like 4 actors there. Then you got the 2 coordinators, which are not wearing any major costumes; they're just in standard garbs. And then you got the Blue Lady and a few other people. Like Chewbacca comes in at the end of the fight and stuff like that.
And no droids roaming around.
No droids whatsoever. Yeah,
they were supposed to be roaming around because here to the right, this is the first picture when they first came out talking about it. Then the updated picture on the left, there's no
that's like the Stalin purge where people disappear from the
Exactly.
The droid is no longer acceptable to the Politburo and he's gone.
No more droids here. We do not have droids here. I know Michelle has to leave in a little bit shortly, so I kind of wanted to give her the last word on this before she has to go.
Yes, please.
Oh gosh. Well, I mean, and again, I enjoy. Has Galaxy's Edge done some dumb things, and they could have made it a lot better? They have, but I genuinely enjoyed my time at Galaxy's Edge. I had fun with it. But this looks awful, and like I've been a Star Wars fan my whole life, and there's no way on earth I would pay $6,000 to go to this thing. I mean, no. Like, that's kind of like hell will freeze over before I pay $6,000.
How many people are included? Like, my sister's got 3 kids, God bless her. So there's 5 people in that family. How many people can go in for one night at $6,000?
It's pretty much like family of 4 for $6,000 is what it is. Yeah.
Right, so
if you're doing it individually, I think it's like $2,500 a person.
So
it's 40, I thought it was $4,500.
Is it $4,500 per person?
Yes.
It's I think that's based on 2 people, I believe.
Okay, that might be 2 people then.
Yeah, and then
$6,000 if she brought her whole family.
Yeah, so they would have to have another additional.
And if you have more kids, I think it's even more. Yeah.
Wow, okay, that's
because there is another bed that pulls out from underneath the other bed, so like that's fun and dandy too. Because like I'm sorry, but if I'm taking my wife on a vacation and I'm spending $6,000, those kids are getting an education because I'm fucking my wife. I don't give a shit. Like, that's $6,000 down the drain otherwise. The kids turn around.
The fact of life, kids.
Somebody said, "How are you going to do that with the kids right there?" So I said, "Well, get in bed. And how big is that bathroom?"
How do you think they used to do it? Kids turn around.
Just take their iPhones away.
I always wondered, like, how did Little House on the Prairie? Like, I mean, they had one room and they had like 6 kids. So I don't know what was happening with Ingalls. What was going on there? I don't know.
I can't remember the movie it was I was watching, but they literally showed that kind of a thing, and it's basically they made the kid look out the window.
My God!
Right, let's get back to this.
I can't remember what movie it was, but
family-friendly stuff, and Michelle's
yes, thank you for being here, Michelle. We appreciate your time.
Thank you, girls, and then the 2 gentlemen. Thank you guys for having me.
I don't count.
No problem. Glad
you found this wonderful pleasure to have you.
Michelle, bring me on your show again. I love you, ladies. I want to come back on.
Sounds good. We'll definitely have you on.
Drop me an email. Bring me back in.
Same here. Been too long.
Yes, yeah. You too, Tom. That'd be awesome.
But yes,
all of you all.
We will share your link in the chat though, so people can check out the channel. And you guys cover Star Wars and all kinds of nerdy stuff, isn't that right?
Yeah, we just put out our reaction video to us watching the Eternals for the first time.
Oh,
yeah.
Okay.
That was long.
Oh yeah.
And you guys are really close to 5K, so head on over there, guys. If you have not already
Gotta be the goal,
subscribed,
yes.
try and help them get over
Mhm.
over that hump there. And thank you again, Michelle, for your time. We appreciate it.
Yes, well, thanks for having me, and you guys keep rocking.
Thank
right, God bless
you.
You
You
too.
too.
Thank you.
Bye.
And with that, I think we had some super chats. This was from the beginning of the show, one for Cameron as well, even though we did
Oh,
get it
okay.
before, but
Okay, yeah.
we can start there.
That one's for you. Christian Corleo said, "Have any of you, including Kamran and I already answered this, seen the new Proud Family series? From what I've seen, it's genuinely funny. The new woke character gets called out on her BS in the first episode and addresses cancel culture in the second."
I'm unfamiliar with this, so I have not seen it, but I'm glad that you're enjoying anything that's out there. If there's any programming that is actually addressing the cultural issues that we've been addressing in the public for some time, I think that's good, and it's further sign that there are people in the industry that want to make money and understand that the pendulum of culture is swinging and they need to be on the right side of it.
All right. Let's see. Bird up.
Up.
I'm thinking of Cameo when I hear that. Average Star Wars hotel patron. Pshaw. What are these silly Star Wars the filthy peasants love so much? Why 6,000 is less than when I pay my servants to make margaritas? Let's investigate, Lovey.
Lovey, I love Lovey. Lovey, oh my God.
Thurston Howell the third.
You know, I mean, look, I know screenwriters. I know a lot of screenwriters that have been broke the last couple of years. I know a few that are doing really well, a few, and you know, I just don't see them going to do this thing with their families. I just don't. So I don't know. I mean, I just even the upper classes are like, I don't know, man. I don't know about this thing.
Yeah, there aren't going to be a lot of takers. I'm sorry. I agree with you, Cameron. They're going to pass on this one.
Yeah,
It doesn't vibe right. It doesn't vibe right.
There's nothing. It doesn't. It doesn't feel like you're really getting anything that much for your money. They'd rather just check into the Four Seasons, you know, hotel instead.
Yeah, I mean, look, my sister's going off to the Caribbean for much of the spring break with her kids, and she's so excited about that right now. She's going to St. Croix, which I've never been to.
Oh, St. Croix is beautiful. She's gonna love it.
Been to the Dominican Republic many times, but never St. Croix. So, but she's so excited about that, you know. And I'm just telling her all of her plans for the trip and the snorkeling and all these things, and I just don't see people getting excited about this blue shrimp and that weirdo silver battle. I just don't see that being something you tell people I want to go see that.
And the other thing that I just want to briefly mention is that although they're showing us those particular amenities, I'm not overly convinced personally that you're actually going to see that when you book this hotel. In other words, sometimes when you book a hotel, they'll say, this is everything that you're going to see in your package. It doesn't feel like you're actually going to get that. Like, I know it sounds strange, but I have this gut feeling that when people get there, they're not going to see anything like that.
Yeah.
Do you mean like what they outline? Because I know they have this crazy, it doesn't even make sense. Like they have stuff scheduled every half an hour.
Yeah, I don't think so.
I don't think that's gonna pop off at all, especially looking how bored they were at the, Star Wars bingo that they had going on with the something else. We have Christian Corleo here for another $10.
Yes, Christian Corlejo for a $10 super chat. Thank you so much, Christian Corlejo, for your generous super chat tonight. Again, how would you, including Tom and Kamran, salvage the Star Cruiser? I pitched my idea last night of making it a proper extension of Galaxy's Edge. That's a space station dinner theater instead of a hotel. And I agree with you. That would work. Like, it looks like it could be a cafeteria style.
I think it's a good idea.
Place.
Yeah, and it's a better use. They could probably get better actors to do that kind of stuff. We're used to playing those kinds of venues, and so yeah. No, this is what I think though. I'd repurpose it to Buck Rogers.
But you don't want Disney having their hands on that.
Oh no!
Yeah, some people have also said it
that.
looks like
Really?
What's that one? I can't remember. You know, the one with Bruce Willis.
The Fifth Element.
Yes, thank you, Tom.
Ah,
that could be another one. I mean, I don't know if anybody would want to see
No,
that.
I kind
but
of agree with what these guys are saying too. Like, yeah, just turn it into a bar and restaurant.
The most Isley Cantina. That's what I feel
Exactly. Yeah,
like.
have the Cantina band and Max Rebo band playing there.
No.
You can
Why
have like
is
a little
nobody
bit of
doing Moss Isley Cantina? Why is this like anathema?
Here's the
Kathleen
thing.
Kennedy.
He stopped it because the original thing was, and if you
Yeah.
go to Hollywood Studios, there's Star Tours. Right across from Star Tours was going to be the Mos Eisley Cantina. That's exactly what they were going to do, and they were going to replicate it. But Kathleen Kennedy said, we don't want to base Star Wars on 50-year-old white guys who remember. We want to go with the future, the sequel trilogy. So that logical extension of Tatooine Traders to roll right into Mos Eisley Cantina went right out the window.
Well, I made Kathy a cake.
I hope it's Carvel. Only cake that's real is Carvel, and I think Urim understands that. Only Carvel ice cream case. Everything else is fake cake.
Thank you, Christian, for that. And then we got Bird Up again.
Okay, Bird Up for
Bird's the
$5. Thank you. Kathleen Kennedy. No franchise is safe. I'm never going to retire. Flies away under the broom.
I'll get you, my pretty, and your little Star Wars, too.
Well, Bird Up, I will certainly say that many of us in the who are participating in the YouTube world actually do believe she's never going to die. She's going to live forever. And 150 years from now, people will still be talking about this kind of stuff. I wish her long life and much health. But everyone must retire. And so there's
Cameron,
a future beyond her.
This is something you and I haven't had much of a chance to discuss too much, but I've heard from a couple people now, the whole thing with Chapek and Favreau went head to head. But I heard the rumor through the grapevine is he's scared shitless of Kathleen Kennedy and won't fuck with her.
Chapek?
Mm-hmm.
Well, I mean, let's say that's true. Let's go with it. Okay. Let's say that's true. It's good that he's got a boss who wouldn't be scared of her. Right. I mean, Susan Arnold is the person that I
hope you're right.
Well, I mean, just look at her bona fides, right? Susan Arnold is the most powerful woman in Hollywood. She actually is, without the slightest doubt. She is the chairman of Disney, coming from this 30 years financial background, Wall Street background, managing money for presidents of the United States. Ms. Kennedy has certainly presented herself as the most powerful woman in Hollywood due to a long history in production and a lot of relationships. You go up against someone like Ms. Arnold, who's had to run Procter and Gamble, and has no problem firing people and maybe having have nice contacts
going
with
up against
Mossad
unions.
assassins if you need to take care of stuff, you got the Mossad guys in your black book, right? That's just a whole other game. That's just a whole other game. That's when you meet people that pretend to be it's like the actor that pretends to be the swashbuckling guy coming up against like an actual special forces guy, right?
Well, the only thing that I will say that goes against that whole thing, or at least it could be still possibly true, but there's Chapek did put a little bit of a boot down, and that was in the situation where basically he said, we're not going to do any of this other shit. Lucasfilm is Star Wars, Indiana Jones, Willow. That's it. Not Blood and Bones, not any of this other crap. So that's also, though, when I think she got shoved back into the equation. So I think it's partially his fault.
Something that's very interesting about this, and it applies whether Kathleen Kennedy is there for one day and decides to retire tomorrow, or is there for another 10 years, are these sort of like legacy riders in these contracts where, rights are concerned. And, how often can you use Luke Skywalker in a production or his likeness? I wouldn't be surprised if a lot of the appearances and things that we're not seeing is because they're restricted somehow for a particular reason. Now, I'm not saying it's good or bad. I'm just saying that having that kind of control over an IP that we were expecting to see immersive amounts of representation, but we're incredibly limited, aren't we? Have you not noticed how limited we're seeing? We're not seeing as many representations in the park of these characters. I'm almost wondering whether there is something that says, okay, any type of appearance has to be approved by, you know, such and such. And that could just be something that's in perpetuity. That's the type of stuff that really scares me. You go there and you'll wonder why have we never seen Luke Skywalker? Well, maybe that's the reason why. And even when she's gone, it might still be enforced. We just don't know.
There may be contractual things. I mean, Earl, you hit something. There was a story swirling around, and I think Midnight's Edge, I think, Tom, you may have brought it up. The idea that, you know, we don't hear much about it anymore, but I think we have this conversation maybe 18 months ago, that there may be contracts about how much Lucas is paid if those characters are utilized, and that
Well, it's just a
Iger-
standard thing. And I even asked a couple people like Ethan Van Sciver and a few others who actually get paid for things like this. And they're like, yeah, they're even if you sell off something like that, since it doesn't have anything to do with George Lucas, the creator, it just has to do with George Lucas, the owner. They still have to pay residuals to the creator of the character. So that does ring true. I have yet to run into anybody to really dispute that outside of, well, he sold it, but I'm like, yeah, but that doesn't matter. And
royalties tend to not.
Yeah, that has nothing to do with the other. Yeah, exactly. And Disney is technically supposed to honor old contracts, but that's where they've come into a bunch of shit where, you know, you had Alan Dean Foster and stuff like that, who we had on the show and talked to him about the shit that he's dealt with. And I guess that finally got worked out. But regardless, I mean, they will not pay anybody if they don't have to. We've had a few other people like Gary Ambrosia, of course, talked about how he got stiffed on his last check for Pirates of the Caribbean 2. I mean, so this is probably, and he's like, who was I going to go complain to? Right. And I'm sure you know this, Cameron, like he said, there's nobody who ever answers the phone in their department for that and shit like that. So like there's nobody you even get to hold of or anything like that. He said, so they make this shit very difficult for you to get paid, I'm sure.
And long after she's gone, this is something that's going to happen. You know, his descendants, people who have the rights to the royalties, all this contractual stuff is going to exist way after she's gone. So, you know,
that's the thing. And that may be too, it may not be so much that Chapek is afraid of KK. She just might have them by the balls contractually. That's kind of another thing I've heard, because George was the one who instated her in the first place. We have no idea what was put in those contracts. She could have them by the balls and there's nothing they can do. And people forget how powerful she is beyond this. She may have fucked up Star Wars in the last few years, but she is one of those people where she could pretty much, she's probably been offered the job to run almost every studio in town. She is one of those people that has built herself in her career because of living off of Steven Spielberg and Robert Zemeckis and all these other guys.
And Mr. Marshall, to be honest.
And and her own husband. Exactly. Yeah. And so clearly, you know, I'm not trying to say like, you know, she is what she is. I mean, we got to remember that she's Kathleen fucking Kennedy. Doesn't matter what she's doing now to Star Wars. It matters what she's done and what she has in that contract. And Chapek is kind of a passing ship at this point. Unless his contract gets renewed, she's technically there way past him.
Well, here's another thing to remember also. Kathleen Kennedy has her lieutenants in Lucasfilm.
That's the other thing. You got your Pablo Hidalgo's and her monkeys.
So those are the ones that you know that you need to look out for. But also,
she's not day-to-day aware of anything that's happening. I think we know that, right?
No, that's what I've been told time and time again. Is she's more like a satellite mom.
Yeah.
And even when, like, basically at the best of times when Mandalorian was at its height, that's when she was distracted with all this other shit. She wasn't paying attention to any of that shit. And that's kind of what we figured out, was she didn't really pay attention until the success came back in. Whether that had to do with Chapek telling her, no, get away from this blood and bone stuff and worry about Star Wars, or if she saw the success happening with Mandalorian and decided to insert herself and take the credit for it, which we saw both basically. So take your pick, I guess. They both reinsert her back into Star Wars. That's the problem.
Yeah. Even after she's gone.
And at that moment, that's when the shit hits the fan. That's when, you know, we have the whole Gina Carano situation. That's when we have, you know, the what's her face from Wonder Woman butting heads. Even though if she wasn't directly involved, it's still in that time period. That's the point and this is a Kathleen Kennedy MO. She doesn't get along with people, evidently. And I'd make the joke, but it's fucking true. She has fired more directors than have actually made projects.
And directors have publicly said they don't want to. Yeah. Directors don't want to go because we'd actually like to complete our movie without being fired. People have said that in interviews. So that's a direct slap. Like, we're not going to come to this place where we have this kind of culture created by a certain person.
even if you count Lord Miller as one director,
Mhm.
she still has technically fired more directors from projects that didn't happen than the ones that actually came to fruition.
Right. But also another thing to bring up, and I know you have brought this up, it's interesting because in the parks, there are only 2 original trilogy characters that they will bring out. One is Chewbacca. The other, which they only dusted off because Disney Plus was letting, if you were a Disney Plus member, you could get into the park like early that day, was Darth Vader. And they haven't brought him out in the parks in years. But they did that one time. But the only other original trilogy character you will see is Chewbacca. That's it.
So there may be contractual things that don't cover Chewbacca the same way for whatever reason. Maybe it goes back to the design issues in 1977 that maybe made the rights around Chewbacca a little more.
Well, that's where
flexible.
like Robert Meyer Burnett and a few other people said something about that's why JJ gave 3PO a red arm, for instance.
Mhm.
And
So
why
then
they
that's not the
concentrated
same.
more on
Red Dwarfs
BB-8.
on the Millennium Falcon.
Exactly. It's 25% different,
Right.
technically. They came
Right.
back with that whole 25% different shit. So yeah, I don't know if Chewbacca wore a different like thing around his chest or so. I didn't pay enough of fucking attention, I guess, in the newer films to see if it was different enough that they considered it different. I don't know. But that's one character they're probably willing to pay a little bit of money out for.
Right. There's something I saw in the chat. Ed C says, but Lucas is a big Disney shareholder. Doesn't that give him leverage? No. There are 2 investment houses who own like 5% of Disney stock that control most of the stock. And
He
that
is the
is
single-
Vanguard and BlackRock.
He is as far as a person, he holds the most stock in Disney, I think, or whatever.
Person-wise. Yeah, probably
Individual.
Shares or whatever.
individual.
Not stock. Yeah, individual, yes.
Yeah.
But like he would have to get like, and I've said this, there is a scenario where if shit were to go real south, like George and Apple and a few other people could get together and possibly do a hostile takeover. But you're looking at a situation that would have to be so dire and bad that,
Yeah.
it's just not going to happen.
It
And
wouldn't.
I think Lucas at this point is like, all right, Favreau's good enough at this point. I think that's
He's
his
moved on. He's past it.
This is gonna be
He's
a pretty
done.
simple
He's
yeah.
completely
And
done.
he
So yeah.
honestly, he's at his age. Honestly, I don't want to be hard on him, but he does deserve his time in the sun now.
Sure.
You
He's
know,
got other stuff he wants.
Well, people
to
forget
do.
that this was not the director he wanted to be in the first place. He
Yeah.
did not. He planned on Star Wars basically being a one and done. All this stuff about it being this massive 9-picture saga came later. That's revisionist history. He saw this vision of what he could do and build his studio out of this, and his plan was I could make these Star Wars movies and they'll bankroll the other stuff I want to do, but that never happened. That's kind of how the tragedy of George Lucas goes down. But his idea, he wanted to make movies like THX 1138. He made Star Wars and American Graffiti off of a challenge from Francis Ford Coppola and his wife. He wanted to continue to just make short films, animated films, just experimental projects. There's interviews where he said these things like Star Wars just kind of took over his life. And he embraced it and took advantage of it when it came to the time especially with the prequels. But I think he was way past Star Wars way back when, to be honest with you. I think about Return of the Jedi is when he because he was planning on selling Star Wars to Disney before the prequels. That was what that whole Star Tours thing was about. He was testing the waters, and there was talks with Eisner and shit that he was thinking about selling, and he was even going to distribute the prequels through Disney until at the last minute Fox sweetened the deal, and they gave him back most of his rights to Star Wars, the first film. So that's why he ended up going through Fox instead of Disney. Otherwise, Disney would have already owned the prequels. Or technically the distribution rights, I should say. And we didn't get this one. This is another one from Bird Up. So this is a completely other one from the other one. So we gotta read this one yet.
Let's see. We have up next Mr. Evil, right? Mr. Evil.
No, we haven't read this one. He did 2 in a
it's an
row, almost
additional
exactly the same. Yeah.
Oh, I kind of swore about that one.
No, it's similar but different.
Oh, okay. There we go. 25% different. Okay, go ahead, Ver.
Bird Up for $5 super chat. Thank you so much, Bird Up, for the continual super chats. We so appreciate your generosity. Kathleen Kennedy, I won't retire. You'll have to throw water on me. I'll get your franchises, my pretty flying broom somersaults.
Well, she just finished Indiana Jones. So
yeah,
now she's
Indy 5.
officially put her stamp on everything because we know Willow's coming. It's in production.
I'm
She's
so
now
not
put her
excited
stamp on
about
every
that.
last Lucasfilm property, pretty much.
Well, we'll see. We'll see. We'll see what the end result is. I still am of the belief that the final result of these reshoots will hopefully just make an acceptable movie. I mean, we're in a place where I'm a big Indiana Jones fan. And I was like, the last movie that Steven Spielberg did, I was like, what is this crap, right? What is that? What's happening here?
Yeah, I didn't
And,
like
so
that.
I was pretty much I'm like, movie's a nice trilogy, great trilogy. It ends with Indy riding off into the sunset. That's all I needed.
I
Everything
agree.
after that is
Crystal
kind of
Skull.
fan fiction. It's
That's
kind of
what
fan
Skull
fiction,
thinking.
and so I'm just like, okay, that last movie was kind of bad fan fiction.
It
And
was
I think this movie will be tolerable.
awful.
Absolutely. I agree with you. Mr. Evil 1 sends in 666.
Interesting. Thank you, Mr. Evil, for that very interesting super chat for $6.66. I was at a wedding years ago where the bride led a line dance to Clarence Carter's Strokin'. It worked.
Oh, yes. Yeah. I'm a DJ. That definitely is a...
Are you?
That's
Oh, yeah. Well, I used
that's
to DJ for years.
interesting.
You want to get a party
Yeah.
going, you throw on that, or you
Party
throw on the cha-cha
That's what I'm
slide, or
doing.
you throw on the Cupid shuffle, or you
Rocket to
throw
the
on
east.
yeah, there's a bunch of them. Electric slide.
Oh, that's
I have to
funny.
step away for 3 minutes.
No,
Please
it's
hold
fine.
any super chats for me, and I will come back in just 3
I
minutes.
think we're good. I think we got a couple here that are not directed
Okay,
at you,
well,
so I
will
think
go.
we'll be okay.
Yeah.
But thank you for that one, Mr. Evil One. Then we got Hillis Mallory again, who says, I think this one's Arms.
Yes, Hillis Mallory for a $2 super chat. Thank you so much, Hillis Mallory. We do appreciate the $2. Rodian DJ. Yeah, I have a job. Dance, dance, dance. I'm sure he is grateful for this work at
I
this
think it's a girl,
time.
but yeah, I think you were right
Or,
about
right,
that.
he or she is grateful for work at this time. I'm sure that's what he's focusing on.
Because dude was really into it. Like I said, he enjoyed watching them. That's for sure.
Honestly, that was probably one of the better parts of it. If it wasn't, but it's like, it's a wasted opportunity. Why is it not at least the Cantina or Max Rebo band, right?
Exactly.
Like,
Or the girl who danced for Jabba the Hutt.
Exactly. Something like that. Something that's recognizable anyway.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, this is the place where you pay the fan service, right? This is where you put the member berries. Not on the shows. You don't have to stick all those guys in the movies and all that stuff all the time.
Nope.
But when we go to the park, you expect to, when you go to Disney, there's a reason you expect to see Snow White. You expect to see Roger Rabbit. You expect to see Winnie the Pooh. It should be the same for Star Wars. When you go to Star Wars, you should expect to see C-3PO and R2-D2. You should expect to see Chewbacca. You expect to see Darth Vader. It makes fucking sense. That's where you pay the fan service.
Exactly, because that's the thing. The theme parks are the physical manifestation of pop culture. For example, if I go to Springfield over in Universal, I expect to feel like I'm in Springfield from The Simpsons. I should be able to go into Quickie Mart and get myself, a squishy. I should be able to do that.
And I'm not even a Harry Potter fan, but you guys keep bringing it up as the gold standard, basically, is Harry Potter Land. And I from what you guys say, it's like, I have zero fucking interest in this thing. But what you guys say about the park, I'm like, yeah, if they put that kind of thought into a Star Wars world, that would be something to really think about going to do. Right. And I've never been to a theme park. I've never been to anything really extravagant. I've been, to a few things here and there, but nothing like that. So like, for me to get myself out there, that would have been something that could have done it. But there's nothing that they've put out that is enticing me to go, yeah, that's worth me saving up the money and taking a vacation and going halfway across the country to see this, especially this crap.
Yeah, not this, not at all.
But on that note, Stephanie Janisek is in the house.
Stephanie Janisek, Smuggler's Cantina for $4.99. Thank you so much for that, my dear. Appreciate that. Iger's Titanic, but instead of Kennedy playing Rose, she's Rose's mom. I remember her mom. And Ruin plays Cal, the jerk fiance. The Billy Zane character.
I don't know. I fixed that movie the other day. Well, I didn't technically do it. Somebody made the perfect mashup. They put Kid Jason behind Jack and Rose on the door when they're floating. Like he's gonna come up and grab them. I'm like, movie fixed. Like if he's gonna die, make it die with dignity. Make Jason pull him under. Yeah.
Oh my goodness gracious!
Thank you for that, Stephanie. Though then we got Primer here.
I think.
Yes, Primer for a $2 super chat. Thank you so much, Primer. Get Gordon Ramsay on the Galactic Star Cruiser. Yes, and he would be like, "This is garbage.
Oh,
What is this? This shit is going bad. It's blue.
Gordon, if you ever look at any of the videos for the Galactic Star Cruiser, please roast it on your YouTube channel.
Bloody
Oh my
hell.
God.
I
This
love
is
Gordon Ramsay.
garbage."
I've
The
taken
best
crabs
meal I
every
have ever
day.
had. Best meal I've ever had in my life was Hell's Kitchen in Las Vegas. It was like a $300 meal, but it was fucking amazing. See, that's what I'm saying. I don't see any of the shit like that here. That
No.
does not. No, you ain't got nobody like Gordon Ramsay cooking that shit,
Mm-mm.
or at least designing it anyway.
Ugh. I would love to see Gordon Ramsay roast that.
Oh,
Like
no
an episode of what
That'd
is
be
it?
a-
I forget the name of the show where he has, where they go to like these crappy restaurants. Gives
Oh,
them like 48 hours to turn it
shit,
around or something
yeah.
like that.
I love that one too, and I can't.
Rescue.
That's what it is. Yeah.
Freaking love it. Let's see her. This one's for you. Another one from Stephanie. Thank you, my dear.
Yes, thank you so much, Stephanie. So good to see you as always. And thank you for the generous super chat, the $4.99 super chat from you, and many super chats tonight. Thank you. Okay, I'll try the shrimp with give me a shot of rum. I'm going in.
Oh Lord. I
Oh,
don't know if
you're
that's a good
brave,
combo.
my dear.
I don't know if seafood and rum is a good combo, but all
You're
right.
gonna need that shot, Stephanie, because after
What's going on
whatever
with
that
seafood?
is,
What? I just came back. What's happening?
Oh, we were talking about. Well, Stephanie said she'd have that with rum, maybe.
Oh,
it
I
might
saw that
actually
earlier.
be
Exactly.
like
Blue
pollock
shrimp.
dyed to look like shrimp or shaped to look like shrimp. We don't really know what this thing is.
I don't know what the heck that is.
I don't
but
either.
It's
One of the most
Ah.
impassioned debates in Islamic scholarship is over whether shrimp is halal or not. The vast majority of the schools say it is.
Mhm.
I belong to a school where it is 50% divided. I said, I'll go with the 50% that says yes. Okay, I'm just going to go with
Shrimp's
that.
too good to say no
I
to.
like
shrimp
shrimp.
is delicious.
It's a great carrier.
Except not there.
No,
Except not there.
well,
Yeah,
I
I'm
don't
sure
know.
it tastes fine. It just looks strange, which affects
Well-
my enjoyment of it.
Yeah. And then
If I
Hills
have-
Mallory's next.
Yeah, let's see. Hillis Mallory for $2.
I like
Thank you
this
so
one.
much for that. Star Wars food reminds me of Demolition
It looks
Man.
like, especially the portions. Like the portions, I'm like, I'm sorry, I'm a big dude. I'm gonna starve at that place.
Didn't they have rat burgers in Demolition Man?
That is a good burger.
Yeah, they did. They had
They did,
burgers
but
made
like,
out of rats.
yeah, but they also have every
Ooh.
restaurant is now Taco Bell.
It's now
and they're
Taco
super
Bell.
fancy.
That's what I remember.
So, well,
Super
even worse,
fancy.
we're going to discover it's Soylent Green.
People.
People.
But at least in Soylent Green, you got a woman, in your apartment.
Oh, okay.
And Demolition Man, technically, too. So
Yeah.
then we got just some other guy in the house.
Hey, just some other guy for $9.99. Thank you so much, my dear, for that super chat. Question for everyone. What would you add to the hotel to enrich the experience? I'd add a clone training simulation ride or a laser tag
Good idea.
event.
Well, laser tag seems like a
See?
natural thing. They don't have a laser tag?
Like,
seems
that's what I'm
No.
saying. There's so many cheap things. Like, that's just it. Like, the closest
pew.
thing I've ever done to any of this stuff is like the Dells, Wisconsin Dells. This kind of shit is all the time. There's all kinds of shit down there that you can do that's like 10,000 times cheaper than this. And they could have integrated a lot of this kind of stuff into here. It's so stupid. Yeah, you could have done a training for like, to how to shoot a laser. It's just fucking laser tag. How hard is that?
Yeah, you
Not
just get a
hard at all
blaster
to
with a
do.
little light
Yeah.
thing and whatever.
No shit. And then you get a bunch of guys coming in dressed like stormtroopers, and that way nobody's, fighting each other as far as the guests. You're
Yeah.
fighting guys who are dressed as stormtroopers, and they just got the, the little laser tag things on them, and yeah, it's not that hard to do.
I would. This is just me personally. I would add that opera house from Revenge of the Sith.
That would be cool.
That
That's actually
Anakin
cool.
and the Emperor, and I like
That's where you
that.
could do
All
the
this
show, yeah.
underworld. Yeah.
And you could do a version of, I think, the Senate, which is kind of cool. Like, you're like floating in a virtual reality. kind of thing.
Oh, that would be a heck of a ride, though.
Yeah, you're like going through this, moving through, and you're going through these different senators are moving around you, and it's like, yeah, that's kind of cool.
Make it legal.
And maybe if you could, the Battle of Coruscant, I don't know, or whatever that battle is at the
That's
beginning
just
of
it.
the adventure.
Like
Yeah.
that's the thing. There's no rides to this. There's no value of, and how hard would it be? Like, and that's what I said the other morning too. Is like I have the VR for PS4, and I have the one game, the Battleground, the Battlefront, or whatever hell one it was. They had a VR section of it from Rogue One, because that's when Rogue One came out. You basically get to go and do a fighting deal as an X-Wing fighters, and that was more immersive than this shit. I actually got sick from it because I'm like, oh, I'll try spinning. That's a neat trick. Oh shit!
Even more so now that I remember
I
from
got me so
Star
sick.
Tours, they actually have the Boonta Eve pod race
Yes.
in that. That's a ride waiting to happen right there. Just even in the simulator, everything.
Well, and you
just
guys brought up
gotta
the
bump
casino. You don't even have to
in.
have actual gambling. You just give like you give people like a bunch of Star Wars tokens.
Yeah, like
Right?
yeah,
It doesn't have
they
to be
and
real
then
win
gambling.
toys. They win toys.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you can go bet on like pod racing and all that kind of stuff.
Have the
and
huts hanging out there.
at least Canto Bite would be worth something for once.
Yeah. I mean, look, look, however it was used in The Last Jedi, the idea of a casino planet is interesting.
Exactly.
It fits in this galaxy. You can use
As
that.
useless as it was in that movie, it could actually bring some use here. That was what I was saying. Yeah, it kind of
Mhm.
felt like that's why it was in the movie. So, they could actually do something like that
Yeah,
at
but
Disneyland.
they forgot because
Yeah, exactly.
They forgot, you know.
But no, I think you're dead on with that. Just some guy, and then he sends in another one for Cameron.
Okay.
Here you go.
Oh, here's one. Okay.
Yeah,
You want me to read it?
read that
Let
one.
me read it.
I'll let her read that one.
Who's reading it?
I'll read it.
Read that one. I was going to let her read that one.
Yeah, I can,
Now what's going on?
read it.
Go ahead,
I'm a guest. I'm not going to read that.
Okay.
Go for it.
Just some other guy for a $9.99 super chat. Thank you so much. Just some other guy. For Cameron, how long do you think it would take to salvage everything? Would Arnold and Chapek have much involvement in these things?
Well, okay, so this is again speculation. I mean, who knows, right? But let me answer part 2 first. Would Arnold and Chapek? I mean, their roles are to be overseers. You know, Chapek's role is to oversee broadly Disney, which includes many things, and that includes movie studios, includes parks, includes all kinds of things, right? And Arnold's role is to oversee him and make sure that he's managing the job properly and whatever. And so it's actually, number one, a good thing that we have those roles divided, because Bob Iger essentially proclaimed himself chairman and CEO, so he had no oversight for over a decade, right? Which led to a lot of questionable choices. And you need someone here on top of Chapek, because let's say what Tom is hearing is true. Let's say Chapek feels politically intimidated by someone like Kathleen Kennedy.
That's a better way of probably putting it. Yeah.
Well, yeah, he's not afraid of her as a human being. Although in this town at that level, people can have people killed. I mean, they can, right? But I don't think that's where their game is. I think the game is more about.
You also have to remember that Chapek is a lower level CEO guy. Like, he's just kind of coming into this game, where Kathleen Kennedy's been playing this game for 40 fucking years.
Yeah,
that's the other side of it.
She knows where bodies are buried.
Literally. I mean, quite literally. I mean, so the surface level of it is they just have a lot of relationships. And if I mishandle this, I make the wrong enemies or if friends of Miss Kennedy who decide to call in some favors of the board and stuff like that, and I might be out, I might not be renewed next year, which is a problem, right? So that's the leverage she has on him. And I don't think
that's a good point too.
Yeah. So I
because his contract's only till next year for right now, isn't it?
And he hasn't really had a chance to shine. He's been technically the CEO for a couple of years, right? So it's not shocking if he had a 3-year contract. But of those 2 years, he didn't really get a chance. He had this other dude's like, I'm back in charge. That's the weirdest thing I've ever seen, right? So
it is.
Yeah, and so his job is to oversee, to return to the question that just some guy very graciously paid money for. So their job isn't to sit around and figure out if the shrimp is the right color or any of these other wonderful suggestions. The job done correctly is to put in place people in charge of divisions who will put in place people who make the right choices, right? And so that's where their power should be, because if he is figuring out, I mean, you could have somebody a micromanager type, but that rarely works out well, right? I have long been of the opinion, and we'll see, I guess, in the next year if I'm right or not. I have long been of the opinion that Ms. Arnold was pushed by the Black Rocks and the other mutual fund and pension fund investors.
Yes.
Because she herself is a financier. That's her background. And she comes from a very powerful, the Carlyle Group manages money for the wealthiest people in the world, including presidents of the United States. So they're not used to they're not doing that for virtue signaling. President Clinton, for whatever he may be doing, like any politician, publicly, he wants to make money privately, and that's how politicians work. So and so she's used to managing money and making lots of money for people who make money at a scale that's hard for us to grasp. Like, we're trying to get 3% return. Barack Obama ain't getting a 3% return on his investments. How that plays out, right? And so that's what she's used to, and I think she's been put in place by the people Lorena pointed out are the largest institutional shareholders who have the most influence. So I think that it was a strategically fortuitous thing that she was there before Chapek, before she was there, before the current board, essentially. She's the oldest member of the board. So she was there when Iger was rising up. She was there when Iger essentially declared himself emperor, right? I'm also the chairman, right? So she saw that, and I'm sure she recognized that as probably an unwise move, and then she watched as he stuffed the board with his cronies, and a lot of bad decisions were made. And the wonderful benefit of her being two other things, which is that she is a woman, and she is LGBTQ. She is openly lesbian, and so to have someone who covers the virtue signaling attack, areas that it's hard to attack her, because the virtue signalers are afraid of attacking women, much less, a gay woman. So she has protection to tell Chapek, do what you got to do. And she has to also be careful as well, because everyone has a boss and public opinion is the boss. If she mishandles her things, she could get lots of articles in the Wall Street Journal calling for her ouster, which is humiliating, and nobody wants that, right? So they all have to play this game very carefully. And I am of the opinion that unless there's a major crisis this year, Mr. Chapek will be renewed despite whatever efforts. I think right now the money's doing well. The money people are happy right now. Quarter did well. I mean, Lorena, you're a shareholder that did well. They're better than expected. And if that trend continues, I don't think Mr. Chapek is in danger of losing his job next February. I don't think that's going to happen. So I think we have at least another 3 to 5 years of this united front regime, who I personally believe are interested in making money for their shareholders. I do believe that. They have their politics. I'm sure their politics are probably more left than a lot of people, who maybe even in the chat, right? But that doesn't matter because they want to make money, right? And so that's the thing. Will you get everything you want in those next 3 to 5 years? No, because this is a monster that's hard to imagine how big it is. And for any one person to turn it around, even Palpatine couldn't run the Empire without the Senate. He couldn't do it, right? The only time he felt like I can get rid of the Senate is like, oh, I got a weapon that can blow up entire planets. Now everyone's just going to obey me, right? Out of pure fear. But he didn't even have that before. So you're not going to get everything you want. There's going to be some Disney shows you're not going to like, some Disney movies that you feel like, are we still in 2015? What is this woke crap, right? There's going to be some of that crap that's in Chapek's job isn't to come in and fix every line of a script. So you're not going to see that. It's all about whether the majority of the audience is entertained enough to keep it moving. And I think it will be. And so I think we're going to see a market improvement in those 3 to 5 years. It will not be perfect. We've had a major cultural epoch that we've come out of that was very damaging to storytelling in the industry and at Disney, and it will take a long time to unwind, maybe longer than either of their tenures. But like I said, the pendulum of culture is swinging in another direction at this point, and people are, even in the industry, are waking up to that reality. So there will be improvements, and I need you to I don't need anybody to do anything. I urge you as your friend to take it as that is. Look for the improvements, be satisfied when something is good, understand when something isn't that great, but see the trend upwards. Is the trend upwards for Disney product? That's the question. And I think it will be.
Then Nicholas Horton is next here.
Let's see, Nicholas Horton, thank you so much for 10 pounds of the Queen's money. We sure do appreciate that here. For a proper Star Wars land, for the Coruscant area, have Dex's Diner and the bar from Attack of the Clones with an interactive death stick.
Exactly. You can do so much shit in the body. Well, the whole thing with Attack of the Clones, you can have a dance club.
Yeah, why not? Yeah, because this was a galaxy. It wasn't just a bunch of rebels fighting
Exactly.
soldiers. There was a living universe.
Well, that's where I
here.
think Disney is so short-sighted on this. This should be its own fucking theme park, like aside from Disney.
Yeah.
Like you could do an entire world with this. It makes no sense at all. And you're dead on, Nicholas Horton. I agree. And then we also got a new member from Papa Delta Yankee. Thank you for becoming a member.
Thank you so much.
And then we got What No Graphics next.
Yes, What No Graphics for a £2 super chat. Thank you so much, What No Graphics. We do appreciate it. Comic-Con London plus hotel would be better and cheaper. Yes.
Oh, I've done Comic-Con in London too.
Oh,
yeah.
You could do so much more with this money.
And then we got Neil. The only time I've been to Comic-Con was when we did Bionic Woman. So I've never been to Comic-Con. We did Comic-Con and when I was producer on Bionic Woman, we went there, and it was obviously because David Icke from Battlestar Galactica, one of the people behind our Bionic Woman, he obviously had Katie from Galactica in our Bionic Woman, right? And so we had a lot of Galactica fans that showed up, right? And so first time I ever went there, I went to Comic-Con, and let's just say I wasn't quite prepared for what I was going to experience. And I went, let's just say one of our producers was a very, very attractive woman who was sort of more of a bubbly cheerleader type, right? Just the look on her face when she entered Comic-Con was, I don't belong here. I do not. Who are these weirdos? They're all these weird. She looked at me. She's like, I feel like I'm in Revenge of the Nerds. What am I doing? God bless you all. But what I loved, because I was watching the audience, because my boss, Glenn Morgan was up there, from X-Files. He was our showrunner, and he and David Icke were up there doing the panel, and I was sitting in the audience just trying to check out what the audience was doing, and it was fascinating to see the ownership that fans felt. This was an audience that was sitting there, and you could tell they thought those dudes on the stage were their employees.
Yes,
and I learned something.
Mm-hmm.
So on that, just a story.
And we got Tennille here next.
Let's see. Tennille 89 for $5. Thank you so very much for that, my dear. Well, after that display of the Star Cruiser menu, I can say that I am approximately as appetized now as I was after watching that scene from Hannibal.
Oh dear.
I know one you're talking about.
I do too.
One where they make Ray Liotta eat his own brain.
Which is in the book.
I know, it's fucked
but
up.
he did fix the ending of the book, because the book was a very good book until like the final chapter, like wait, what? This makes no sense, and they fixed it.
Movie's all right. Let's see. Here we got Larry next.
Yes, Larry. Am I next?
I believe it is.
Yeah, go for it.
I'm sorry.
No.
Larry for a $2 super chat. Thank you so much, Larry. We appreciate it. Sequel Trilogy Hotel has deleted scenes from Galaxy's Edge.
Yep.
Yeah.
That's effectively it. Yeah. Everything we were supposed to get.
So comparing it to the Christmas special is accurate, considering they used a lot of deleted scenes from Star Wars to make the Christmas special, like all the Darth Vader stuff is from deleted scenes from Star Wars. Then we got Tennille, who has a question for a comment to Cameron.
Order from Tennille, another $5. Thank you so very much for that generosity. Appreciate that here on the channel.
Yeah.
To Cameron's point, Susan Arnold doesn't need to show off for people to know her power. Moreover, people aren't laughing at her behind her back.
Yes.
Yeah, she's got a thick resume.
And the places she's risen up are ruthless. Forget Disney. These are ruthless corporate environments to rise up to a vice president level. Procter and Gamble, right? Carlyle Group. We've got billionaires competing with billionaires, and then you become the top members of those places. That requires a level of ruthlessness, shrewdness, calculation, and complete emotional control, which most people in Hollywood don't have those elements. She's not. I actually admire her tremendously, just her background, and she's the kind of person that you don't mess with. You just don't mess with that person, because they'll take care of business, and your life will never be the same after that.
Yeah. And then we got Mike D here.
Yes, Mike D for a $5 super chat. Thank you so much, Mike D. We do appreciate the super chat. Darth Vader has agreed if you flash Disney credit card at HS.
At high school, or what does HS mean?
I don't know.
I'm sorry. Forgive me, Mike. I'm not exactly sure what this.
Yeah, I'm not sure what HS is either.
Forgive me, but thank you for your generosity.
I'm assuming it's something.
Hollywood Studios.
I was going to say some kind of Disney thing. I was going to say
Hollywood
probably.
Studios. Yeah.
Okay.
Thank you, Lorena.
No, they used to have a Darth Vader meet and greet.
Gotcha.
And they got rid of it.
I see what you're saying. I see what you're saying.
Hmm.
Interesting, Mike D. Yeah, see, you don't even have anything like that. Then we got Hillis Mallory again. Thank you so much.
Yeah, Hillis Mallory for $2. Thank you so very much. Have you guys seen the new Harry Potter trailer? I have not, because I'm just not interested in anything. Like I didn't like
This would be
Fantastic
that
Beasts.
Beasts and whatchamacallit, right?
Fantastic Beasts, right?
Yeah, it's like the Secrets of Dumbledore. I can't believe that's the
The
title.
one where they
came up
fired
with,
Johnny
but
Depp and
yes,
what's his face that
I'm
scab took his
not
place.
I'm not interested in
I
seeing
haven't
it.
seen it.
I
Was it
have not
Mickelson or whatever.
Yeah, I've not seen it. I mean, for me, Harry Potter. I love Harry Potter. I love the books. I have one of the original. I think it was the second or third, the third novel, which was the novel where Harry saw the vision of his parents again. They came out through the wand.
Mm-hmm.
Right. So I have the one where they had the print error, the first edition, where it was supposed to come out of the sequence of who died, and they got it wrong, and they immediately reissued it and collected all those. But I still have that, which is rare. So I love those books. I love those books. I love the movies. Actually, I stopped at the end of Harry Potter. For me, I don't need anything more,
Yeah,
and
Mhm.
I wasn't interested in this subsequent world that Ms. Rowling created. I didn't feel any need for it. I never looked into it. And then when Mr. Depp was let go, I was like, well, I'm not going to look into this any further.
Then I really wasn't interested at all. So
It really made me lose because it was Matt Mickelson that took his place, right?
Yeah,
Mhm.
and
Made me lose some respect for him. I was like, that's totally scabby, dude. You shouldn't do that, man. Just, it's one thing's different if like an actor passes away or something like that, or ends up going to prison.
The tragedy of it is that everyone in town, or at least everyone I know, knows what really happened there, knows
exactly,
and is certainly sympathetic to Mr. Depp and his conflict with his ex-wife. But there's a very ugly politics there that have been taken advantage of by a lot of people, which is unfortunate.
I think it's bad politics on Warner's part. If they wanted to be fair, I would be like, to both of them, I'd be like, until this is sorted out, both of you are not going to be in our productions, period. When it is sorted out, then we'll deal with it. I mean, that's the only fair way to handle it, I would say.
In the world of Anne Sarnoff, no woman could ever be a villain in that kind of situation. However, in the world of Mr. David Zaslav, I know he's aware of this, and the trial, the actual United States trial that Mr. Depp has for libel against his wife, begins, I believe, in about 3 weeks. And so far, I've been following that trial very closely. And so far, in the preliminary court rulings and evidentiary rulings, they've all been in his favor. This judge seems to be very unsympathetic to his ex-wife and her ploys. And I think this trial is going to get real ugly real fast. And I think Mr. Zaslav will be like, and I've said this for a few months, and I'm feeling it more now. Mr. Zaslav will be like, all right, guys, I need you to reshoot this movie and remove this person or minimize her role, and we won't put it out in December. We'll put it out in March next year. I mean, if I just wrote this on my Patreon, just today, as we saw just a few days ago, Jeff Zucker, who was invincible, was removed from CNN allegedly for a sex scandal, but they've all got sex scandals. That card is used when you need to get rid of somebody, right? And so he was removed because CNN has not been that profitable and lost quite a few viewers for a lot of reasons, particularly its political stance in recent years. And today, his replacement, Chris, forgive me, I don't know how to pronounce it because I don't know him. Is it Chris Licht or Chris Licht? But this gentleman he's coming over from CBS, put out a memo today when I wrote on my Patreon about it, saying that he's going to quickly come in and preserve what it works and quickly remove everything that doesn't work, which suggests people as well, right? And then he said in that memo, this is a memo to CNN employees. He said, I'm going to come in and quickly remove anything that isn't working here. And to let you know, this is coming as a directive from our new incoming boss, David Zaslav. He names him and says, this is a directive. So Mr. Zaslav always said, you tell these guys at CNN, I'm cleaning house. That's CNN. Already, I know Warners are fleeing on the television side. Executives I know have fled because it's better to quit and get a new job than be fired then that looks
Looks
real
better
bad.
on your resume. Yeah.
Correct. So get out now. If you
Yeah.
think Zaslav isn't going to like what you did, you're out. So I think I am of the view that I think he'd be like, all right, clean
I
this
hope
up.
you're right, but I think that Amber has too many people in the industry side of things that aren't, the actors and the creatives behind her, that I think that's what's keeping her in place. But I hope you're right. I hope because I'm
She's got a
sick
few
and tired
videotapes
of.
as well. She's got a few videotapes.
We'll see what happens here. It's going to be an interesting year, I think, with her for her. And I don't even know, have they even figured out that Australia thing yet? So we'll see how that
I
goes.
haven't heard any.
She might be forever banned from
She
Australia.
probably paid it off again.
No, I don't know. The Australians have proven that they're.
I hope they go after her, to be honest with you, because that's bullshit. Douglas Nelson says, "What other beloved franchises have yet to be rebooted, deconstructed, or destroyed?" And thank you, Douglas, for the art that we just had up here.
Oh, he's a beautiful artist. Well, I hope they don't do this to my beloved.
Quit bringing it up, or they're going to. Buck is going to be a lovely Blasian woman.
Well, if they bring Aaron Gray back as the commander of the starship, I'll watch.
No, Buck. And they will call her Buck.
Aaron Gray. I didn't watch.
She will be like, "Oh, Mikey Spock, hold my beer."
Unless now, if they do it like the Battlestar Galactica reboot, how they handled Starbuck gender switch, okay, I'd be cool about that. But I don't think they can do it the right way.
I remember a lot of resistance to that at first too, believe it or not.
There was a huge resistance.
It took a while for it to warm over. Yeah,
I know I did, but for me it was just more of just like Starbuck a woman. Really, how are you gonna pull that off?
I mean, it wasn't as bad as now because people weren't as.
That's the thing. It's like people,
but there was still people who just weren't like sold on it right away, and it took a little while for people to warm up to it.
Sorry,
I mean, I was of the. What
just
are they doing
beat us
here?
up while you're at it.
I was.
My computer keeps falling off the table. No. That's why I'm having this problem.
Oh, no.
I was of the like, I hope this is going to work, and then I fell in love with it the moment I saw her, and I was like, well, this is Starbuck. This is Starbuck. It's an archetype of the character Starbuck, right? And then I just fell in love. I was watching the miniseries when it first premiered, and I was like, oh my god, they got to make a series out of this because this is the best television I've ever seen, right? And so I was like, my hesitancy went out the window the moment I saw Katie Sackhoff, and then I worked with Katie on Bionic Woman, and she is an incredible professional. She is really hardworking. She's a serious person. I mean, and she knows she's very attractive. I saw her at the Comic-Con, and let's just say she knew every eye was on her, and she was enjoying it.
What's great about her? She's one of those actors who actually has a name that sounds like what you want to do when you see her.
But she also does Hallmark movies.
Yeah.
Well, you got to eat.
Yeah,
but it's also the movies that many women are watching, and grabs the attention of women in general. Like I watch a ton of those films.
My mom watches Hallmark all the time. Yeah,
she's the only reason I watch Halloween Resurrection.
Oh wow!
Oh, she's hot in that one.
As a Mandalorian, she works as it. So
yes, indeed. And then just some other guy says something for Cameron.
Is it you or is it me?
I guess it's me.
Yeah, go for it.
Just some other guy for a $4.99 super chat. Thank you so much, just some other guy. We do appreciate it. Another for Cameron. Things are still quiet on KK's official status, and everything she touched is finishing. What do you predict to happen now?
Well, it's interesting you raise that because I was actually thinking earlier today. It really is quite remarkable that there's no official announcement. I mean, even if Bob Chapek is politically afraid of her, even if she's there and outlives him, it is still remarkable, right? I was thinking that's pretty remarkable that they're at least aware that it will not be positive for their relationships with the fans and the audience to even announce it, right? It's a little shocking, and I'm sure it's humiliating for her that it was never acknowledged. It is an achievement to be renewed and blah blah, and she's getting these awards at PJ. It's still humiliating. So I'm sure that eats her craw. But I'm going to predict on here. I'm going to give a prediction. And I may be proven wrong in 6 weeks. So we can do a Cameron was wrong video, and that's okay. Right? But I'm going to give you my speculation and prediction of what I think is coming. I believe that Obi-Wan will be a successful show. I believe it will be a quality show. I believe whatever mishandling of her and her crew of flying monkeys was done to damage Boba Fett while they were off. So it's almost like sleight of hand. Like Favreau was like, all right, I'll let her mess this up. but I can't let her mess up Obi-Wan. The reason I say that is because the showrunner of Obi-Wan that she had chosen, Hossein Omini, who's a Oscar-winning writer and a very good writer, but I don't know that he's right for this. She had chosen him to run the Obi-Wan show, and then he was quietly terminated in January of last year, actually 6 weeks before Gina Carano was fired. So right after the Luke Skywalker return in The Mandalorian, suddenly there's a little trade article that Hossein Amini's been let go, right? And they're going to revamp the show. So essentially they started all over last January, and that was her guy. So then the other gentleman that replaced him is someone a friend of mine has worked with closely and said is a wonderful guy, very fan oriented. So he's not as famous as Mr. Amini, but he's exactly what Jon Favreau needed. It's like not an Oscar winner, not somebody who's going to overshadow him, somebody's going to do what he's being told, right? And so Favreau got that guy, brought the writers team, and I believe likely while they were messing with Boba Fett, they went off a separate track, were able to do a successful Obi-Wan show. I believe Deborah Chow knows what she's doing. I believe Mr. Favreau. I don't believe anybody. I'm sure Miss Kennedy would like to screw it up. It's a white male. I know she'd like to screw it up, but I don't think they let her. I don't think they let her screw that one up. And so I think it's going to be a successful show. We'll see in a few weeks. I think the fans largely, I'm not sure every one of the critics, including our critic commentary here on YouTube, will like it, but I think the fans will largely be very happy with it. And that will be a moment. This is my crazy prediction. I believe that if I am right and Obi-Wan is a remarkable success that rallies the fans across the board, right? It is a perfect time for Miss Kennedy to announce her retirement if she wanted to, because you go out high. It ain't going to get better than that. It ain't going to get better than Ewan McGregor returning at his beloved role that he himself is proud to be playing and does a great job as his Obi-Wan. And if he doesn't screw it up, and you got Darth Vader coming in and there's a great battle scene, and yes, people are like, it didn't happen, whatever. If the audience will buy it if it works, right? And if the audience loves it, best time for her to say, she's probably approaching 80 at this point. I've had an incredible run here, and I just want to thank everybody, and I'm going to accept this wonderful award with George Lucas on the PGA for all my lifetime achievements, and it's been such an honor to be here, but I'm handing over the reins. I may be proven wrong in about 6 weeks' time. That's okay, but I think that's not impossible. I think that's one timeline that may very well manifest for us, because there's no better time for her to leave, whether she leaves this year or 5 years from now. She wants to leave with her dignity and her self-respect and her head held high and her screw you fans, I did something here. She wants to be able to say that. No better time than a successful Obi-Wan show to do it.
Well, I hope it works, because the primary thing with Obi-Wan is how are they going to do this without breaking canon? So if they can thrill me and figure that out and do it that way, then they have me.
Most of the audience will not care, and they will interpret it that Obi-Wan and Vader fought a couple of times, and that they won't interpret that final sequence where Vader said, when I left you, I was the learner, now I'm the master. It's like, yeah, you left me after that third battle we had, right? 7 years later. Most of the audience will interpret it that way or not even care. I agree that some will not be fine, but I think the vast majority of the audience will go with it.
I mean, I agree with some of the things you're saying, Cameron. And again,
I got an issue with
speculation, but yeah, and I don't want to drag this out too long. But like,
I understand.
I think she's going to wait till at least Indiana Jones is out to do anything.
That's probably true. So,
but I do think you're right that this Obi-Wan thing is a big deal.
It's a huge deal.
I'm concerned that they have not given us any previews yet. I'm concerned that they had to go back to the drawing board. Considering how late in the game somebody realized that, oh shit, our scripts for Obi-Wan are too much like Mandalorian after Mandalorian was already showing on television. So like you have the situation where somebody wasn't paying attention, and so they had to go back and redo all that business. And I've heard mostly positive things about Obi-Wan, but I think this is one of the moments where, because I thought Boba Fett was going to be a big deal and it didn't really resonate with the fans in a way that I thought it would. So if this doesn't work, then Star Wars is truly dead. Like if you cannot get the fans back with Ewan McGregor playing Obi-Wan Kenobi, whether it's good or bad, if this isn't one of the most watched streaming shows in the longest time, then they have fucked this franchise.
I just want to add one thing. I definitely agree that many people, certainly, publicly, the face of the fans on YouTube and other places, were unhappy with Book of Boba Fett, certainly how it ended, right? I think most of us were like, what's happening with the first part? And then, okay, it's getting really good. And then there's a lot of controversy over the final episode, which I personally enjoyed. The fact is the ratings were 35% higher than the Mandalorian finale where Luke was revealed. So I think the majority of the fans, normies, like my sister, who doesn't know Star Wars lore and just enjoys lightsaber battles, enjoys people firing poo-poo, and she's not any weird, she's just a normie. She loved it. Kids loved it. I think that's the majority of the fans. I think they keep aiming for that demographic, to the unhappiness of some of us here. You talk about it publicly, but I think that's the direction. That we'll see.
Which is understandable. I mean, I really do. Or I'm sorry. I didn't interrupt.
Okay.
I was just saying, in a way, because I love Deborah Chow as a director. I think she's absolutely amazing. So I definitely hope for her sake, Obi-Wan takes off, and it's and it's an excellent show. I'm kind of wait and see attitude. It's like I'm not going to trash it. I'm just gonna we have to see. But I'm very, very cautious about how they get around that whole canon thing, because if they do and they blow my mind with that, not only will they keep like the normie fans, but they'll get some of the OG fans like myself that says, okay, it looks like you finally know what you're doing.
So Favreau, if you're watching, sir, listen to Ms. Lorena.
I don't know how much he has to do with the Obi-Wan show, but that's the thing is, this Obi-Wan show is going to be like Picard to Star Trek. People didn't really pay attention to Discovery. That's kind of where you can look at Mandalorian and Boba Fett in a way.
Yeah, I didn't.
But people did tune into Picard, and they're like, what the fuck is this?
Yes.
And I have a feeling that if Obi-Wan is a lot like the other shit we've seen, and it's not good, and a lot of the fans see it, and they turn on like that, or they just don't even show up for it, then we've seen the effects of what has been the damage that has been done to this franchise. And you were going to share a thought. I'm sorry.
Yeah, no worries. About the only thing I think Disney would change right now after everything that's happened is to have the distribution power that Amazon has. That's what they want. I'm sure when they created Disney Plus, they thought they were going to get as big as Amazon. And who knows, maybe they had plans to do, to distribute their stuff and sell products and restrict it, anything that's Star Wars related or Disney in that Disney umbrella, from selling on Amazon. And think about how many products Amazon sells that are Disney related.
Right.
It's got to be, in the billions a year. So their idea is that they thought perhaps if they created this network and people would subscribe to it, and they've got you, like people are just going to subscribe because there's nothing else to subscribe to. They've restricted everything onto Disney. But I think that Amazon, whether it's above board or below board, sells Disney products anyway. And, they kind of agree to that or somehow have fallen into
Actually,
that.
It's funny you mentioned it, because Amazon and Disney don't get
almost
along too well.
where they almost have to agree to it, because people will go to Amazon first to find Disney products oftentimes before they'll go to a Disney website, which is not as easy to use as an Amazon website. And so their weakness of realizing that they don't have the distribution power, they know that when people turn on their phones and they go to look for something, they're going to go to Amazon first, even if it's a Disney product, pull it up, and Amazon is going to advertise whatever thing they're selling, and they're going to get you so many more times. It's almost like free advertising. Disney really wants that. And they're going to find a way to somehow get it. And I wouldn't be surprised in the future if we see Disney shows advertised on Amazon at some point. So that's how I see things working out.
It's really perceptive.
Interesting point.
No, and it is kind of funny you mentioned that, because they have not gotten along very well over the last few years. Disney and Amazon notoriously have a history. Like, not just with merchandising so much, but with the movies specifically. Like, they have had issues with getting the product. Like, they will Amazon has pulled Disney titles from their website pre-orders because of the bullshit they've had to deal with Disney, because Disney won't give them the quantity they want and shit like that, or the price they want. So like they've gone back and forth. So I wouldn't be surprised if you're right. Like they're trying to station in themselves as a situation where eventually they will be an go to one place for Disney stuff. Sure. I don't think that's too far off.
Well, their goal is to be all two for everything, right? I mean, it's
right.
That's what I'm saying. Like, I don't think you're wrong.
Advertisement that Amazon affords everyone. You can't watch a show on Amazon Prime without being forced to watch a trailer for some Amazon show, even if you're not watching that show.
Yeah.
You bought a movie or whatever it is, and you want to watch your movie, but they're going to throw in that trailer before you watch whatever it is you're watching. That kind of power, that's like they're forcing advertising power on you. And you're paying for it. That's the worst part about it. At least if you had the movie at home, you could fast forward between the trailers and say, I don't want to look at that trailer again. I know that was a trailer from 20 years ago, but no one has this power that Amazon seems to have. Even Amazon's boxes, the exterior of their boxes, they advertise. Like I got a box the other day that had their Cinderella on it. And I'm like, I didn't order anything that has from Cinderella. I'm like, oh, they're advertising on their box.
Yeah.
I ordered, I think it was like a pair of shoes on the outside of the box, the Amazon box with Cinderella.
Yeah, the tape.
Yes,
Mhm.
yes. I
Yeah.
mean, there's no other company that has the ability to do this. And Amazon probably has 100 other marketing things up their sleeve that they haven't gotten to. And they've kind of been laden down by this union stuff where people want to become unionized and all that stuff. But that's what Disney wants. They're going to get it somehow. I don't know how or when, but I think if Kathleen could cinch that, that would really be a feather in her cap.
I think you understand the dynamics perhaps a little bit better than she does. So you should get that advice to her. I do. I honestly think a lot of people in this town, certainly of that generation, do not see where they're going.
Yeah, it's Professor X. He's
Kitty time.
hanging around my feet. So
He's doing
here,
things to us with
you
his
can
mind
you
right
can
now. I
say
can see it in
hi.
his eyes.
Yes.
He's like, fuck you. You're doing this to me, Mom.
I have to head out in a couple of minutes.
This is the last super chat for you right here.
Great.
We've got one from Jack White. I'll go ahead and read this one. Cameron, what's the story with Jar Jar Abrams' Superman movie that has Race Hustler writing? Please tell me it's canceled. I don't know if you've heard anything, Cameron, but I've heard a couple things. Go ahead.
Okay, well, I'm going to share just speculation, and then I'd love to hear what Tom has heard, right? I wrote on my Patreon, speculation coming out of events. So I wrote on my Patreon just yesterday about this interesting event that happened where J.J. Abrams announced his new Star Trek movie, right? And then a week later, the Hollywood Reporter runs an article saying, well, we called all the actors and nobody's heard of it. They're like, what? Chris Pine, his agents are like, I mean, to actually run an article in the Hollywood Reporter saying people don't know what J.J. Abrams is talking about. The agents and managers are like, if you're making a movie, don't you have to pay us? I mean, they don't. So that's an old Hollywood thing. It's an old Hollywood angle that people use, a shyster thing that we do, which is announcing things that aren't real in the hopes of causing political events to happen to make them real, right? I have suggested that maybe Leslie Headland is doing that with The Acolyte, where she announced the casting of an unknown actress who was gender non-binary, just as Mr. Iger is about to leave, in the hopes of creating a political environment where it's hard to cancel that show by the new administration. That's a kind of political game that's very common in this industry. It's not the kind of game you would expect someone J.J. Abrams to be doing. You'd think if he's announcing a new Star Trek movie, he has the money and that he has the execs on board. And then Hollywood Reporter calls him out on it. What that reveals to me, which will answer the question, I hope, from my speculative point of view, what that reveals to me is that Mr. Abrams has lost a lot of power on a practical level, both in the sense of 10 years ago, we're doing another Star Trek movie like that. They would listen. If you got to play these kind of investor, PR games to raise your money, that shows you don't have that kind of power. Then when the trades who've been calling you for 20 years, the new Steven Spielberg, are saying, I don't think this guy's got this movie. He's making it up, right? That's really embarrassing. That's not something to do to somebody who has a lot of power. He's very wealthy and has many connections still, but something is happening there for the Hollywood Reporter to embarrass him like that, and for the representatives of all the actors to publicly say, we don't know what he's talking about. There's a movie, nobody's told us. What's this about, right? So that suggests to me that Mr. Abrams and his whole crew, and I wrote an entire article on Patreon about this. I've worked with some of those people. I've worked with the gentlemen who were involved in Beauty and the Beast, that now canceled show, or apparently canceled show. I've worked with the creators of that show. They were my bosses on Tron Uprising, and they fired me from Tron Uprising, so I know them. I certainly have an interesting experience with them, and I have a perception of them. But they were protected for many years because they were all part of the J.J. Abrams Lost Club, like David Lindelof and all these other characters, right? So I am of the view that their shine of that cast of characters, including Mr. Abrams himself, is no longer that shiny. And since this, I'm assuming that, because I've heard a little bit about this alleged black, Superman story. I've heard a little bit about it. I'm assuming this is going to be under Warner's in DC, right? And at least in theory, it sounds to me like another one of these. We're doing these things like we're doing Star Trek, right? And David Zaslav was like, is there any market for that? I don't care if there's a market for Asian Superman, I'll do it. Is there a market for this? Are the fans and the audience going to pay to see this character in this way? No. Well, if Mr. Jeff Zucker is going to run away in 24 hours after, I tell the people, get rid of this guy, I think Mr. Abrams, you might want to move on to other projects. So I'm of the view that it will likely never happen under the leadership of Mr. Zaslav. That's speculation based on the events I'm seeing. Now, I'd love to hear Tom's intel if he's got information.
Yeah, actually, I've heard a little bit. Well, first of all, like as far as like the Trek thing, that's a little bit two different things here. The Trek thing is, he's been trying to get Star Trek 4 off the ground for a while because the clock is ticking on Bad Robot's license with Star Trek. So he has to get something into production. That's why he told Tarantino, I don't give a shit what you do, just do it. Because it's like he just has to get something done. And you're right, they have no money. Paramount has $0, and this is across the board. They got called out, not just JJ, but the entire crew did for that whole presentation for it basically being a bunch of fugazi, and it was basically a sales pitch. Is what it was. And they're like, oh, we're all about the franchises. We got this, and that, and this, and that, and this, and that, and this, and that, and pre-production, and this. That's all it was just basically a sales pitch to their fucking funding partners. Now, the Zucker thing over at the Zucker, as far as KK and Kurtz, that's a different question. The other thing with the Superman, this is the deal.
Please.
I was told early on, and I heard this from multiple sources, and so did Andre, that Hamada brought JJ in to do for DC what he did for Star Trek. See, that's the thing, is a lot of these people, again, to remind you that they don't see JJ and Kurtzman and a lot of these people the way we do. They see them as these wonderkins that you were just kind of talking about. But
it's a club of great people as they see themselves.
But what happened was you had, what's his face? He just escaped my mind. Who's making the other Black Superman story? Michael B. Jordan. They wanted him originally to do this, but he's like, I don't want to do the Kal-El thing. I want to do the Kal-Zod thing or whatever. That I'll do. So like, all right, they let him do his show, and I heard that was basically just so they could get into cahoots with Michael B. Jordan more or less.
Yeah, they want to work with him. Got it.
They wanted to work with him. And then on the other side of it, I heard JJ wasn't too happy about that. But not only that, he's also not too happy about the fact that he's not getting the control he wants over the DC universe. Because that's the way JJ is. He wants to control every avenue, every aspect. He wants his piece of the pie in every bit he can. And from what I've heard, since he's not getting a lot of what he wants, he just kind of delegated Ta-Nehisi Coates to this. And I've heard there's been very little to no movement on this project. And then add on to that, I heard recently from Mikey Sutton and others that there's been zero movement on everything because everything's in a holding pattern until Zaslav comes in. So right now, the only things that are moving are things that are already in production. The only other product that is DC oriented that has been any talk about that is not already in production, like Flash is in production, Aquaman 2 is in production, so those are coming, and so is the Shazam spinoff with The Rock and Shazam 2. I think those are all 4 in production, so those are happening. The only one that they've talked about outside of that, because there's not even been talk about a Batman sequel or anything yet. The only thing that's been announced or rumbled about is Joker 2. That sounds like a Zaslav move. Because he sat down. He sat down. He goes, look at what you guys got here. You got one movie you made that made money. Make a fucking sequel to that.
Yeah.
And then we'll figure out all this other shit is probably what he said. I'm just speculating there. But the first part is stuff I've been told. So that's where everything's at right now. It's in a holding pattern. My guess is we're at less than a chance in hell of seeing this J.J. Abrams Superman project happen.
I think that's right. I think
we'll see the Michael B. Jordan project first.
Look, and if anyone's going to do it, and at least Jordan cared enough to, he's like, well, this is Kal-El, isn't this? Let's do another character, right? Cared enough to just, again, because, well, guess what? He's a minority. So he's like, why don't we just take a character that's a minority already? Well, why do we need to, blackwash this? Why do we need to do that, right? And minorities are a little more sensitive to that than the people that want to save them.
Yeah, and I know Cameron's got to go, and it's getting a little long in the tooth
here.
The very
last question here.
Professor X is trying to tell Lorena up there. Another guy has one more question for Cameron. How powerful was Zucker compared to others like KK and Kurtzman?
In his world, he was all powerful. in
Well,
his
there was
world.
a time when CNN was top of most of the popmost when it came to news channels.
And it was before Mr. Zucker. After Mr. Zucker, it started going in a downward trend. If you look at this gentleman's past, he was successful today or whatever. He's got a past. He's not very successful at things he touches. And he's one of these guys that just managed to weasel his way in and never leave and get all kinds of. He's a lot like Robert Iger. He's very good at getting in front of the cameras and getting attention on himself and creating the persona of a media mogul. That's his perception, even if the actual numbers in front of us on the spreadsheets don't support that, right? And so that was sustainable all the way. I mean, they lost public data. They lost 90% of their viewership in the last year. That's pretty remarkable. And I have my views on the world, and I don't think CNN or Fox or MSNBC accurately reflect any of it. But CNN was closer to my views of reality for a while, and then it just went off to another direction. I was like, this is propaganda. It's not even, come on, guys, this is getting silly here, right? And I think a lot of the audience went there.
For basically every bad thing somebody said about Fox News over the years, CNN became the absolute opposite worst.
Yes.
Like, they're like, hold my beer, we'll do the left side of it, watch, and we'll do it better.
Absolutely. And I have been very critical of Fox News's coverage of the Middle East.
Same here,
yeah. And but then I watched the last year of their coverage. I'm like, I'll watch Tucker Carlson for stuff. I'm like, I know this stuff.
When they're sounding less crazy, yeah.
So to answer the question, he was perceived as all powerful, so that his downfall has sent such a shockwave that all we're seeing is articles in the trades and in the New York Times and Vanity Fair and everything else talking about how angry, upset, and shaken and frightened the people, on CNN are. It's because that's his perception. And that tells us that something radical has happened and that something radical is changing there. And that's Mr. Zaslav, who's buddies with this guy. They play golf together. Didn't save Zucker at all. Didn't save him for 1 second. And when it comes to sex scandals, they all have sex scandals. They all do.
It's about optics and politics at that point, Cameron.
When you need to get rid of somebody, you just pull the sex scandal card. Because as has been said publicly, everybody knew about this affair inside the company.
Well, and the reason this is kind of relevant is because this is what's going to start happening across the board at Warner. And this is what I've been telling people. Zaslav is being brought in. Like, if you thought Jason Collard did any head rolling, that was just a preview. Like, he's basically Jason's mom. Zaslav is Jason. He's coming to town, kids, and he's going to chop some heads. Warner needs to be cleaned the fuck up, and it's going to be under Discovery's name now, so you better believe that Zaslav is going to make sure it's a well-oiled ship. But with that, I think, was there another story or anything we had to get to, Lorena, or are we pretty much tapped out?
There was something I was going to show.
Are you going to get out here, Cameron? Or?
I do have to head out, so I'm going to say my farewells here, but as always, it's lovely to be here. And we've gotten through 2 months, ladies. We've gotten through 2 months. It's March begins tomorrow.
I know.
Already.
Despite all the chaos in the world, I think
I'm going to see Batman tomorrow.
Oh, lucky. I can't see it till Thursday.
I want to hear your view. I actually think it's going
to be... Chris Gore and I are going to talk about it Wednesday morning.
Wow. Oh, wow. I'm hopeful. I think it's going to be a good movie. The current reviews I'm hearing that it's an old school detective story, which is what Batman once was. That can be interesting. Let's see if they pulled it off. On that note, thank you, everyone. I've mentioned my Patreon a few times. We've done very well in the last few weeks with Patreon. People coming right off of Toxic Femme to my Patreon. We'll throw a link in. I think it's probably a link already in there. But yeah, I've been writing about some of these issues in the last few days about what's happening with Jeff Zucker and what's happening with David Zaslav. I did a special on David Zaslav just today on my Patreon to give my perspectives on things. There's a lot of stuff that I'm more able to say there when it's a private chat rather than is publicly available to the world, and where people are like, hey, why are you putting that out there? It's going to be good for your career. So come check out what I have to say. And also, if you're a writer, whatever, I've got all kinds of consulting services on my Patreon. I'll look at your script, your book. It'll all be good. So thank you all. And I'm not going to answer this last one here.
I'll take care of it.
All right. Ladies, God bless. And we'll
see you Cameron.
Night, Cameron. God bless.
Before I go, Lorena finished my script. You liked it?
Yes, I did. It's absolutely incredible, and
it's a script.
I'm praying.
I haven't seen it
for great things for it. I mean, seriously.
And now Lorena knows some of what's happening with it, and hopefully I'll be able to come on Toxic Femme and talk about that as part of the fun of being on this channel and a real project that I think
that'd be wonderful.
Absolutely. Right. Take care, Cameron.
God bless.
Bye, Cameron.
And Salacio, it's Celiato, Theliato. I think that's right. That's what AT&T was thinking, and look where they're not. You're not wrong. That's a great point. But the difference here is AT&T was a communications company. Discovery is an entertainment company.
Mm-hmm.
I think AT&T realized they were in over their heads. They didn't realize what they were doing with a company like this, and they didn't realize the state that Warner Brothers was in. And that's why they're bringing in Discovery to help clean that up. And with that, though, you said you had one more thing here, Lorena?
Yeah, there's one thing actually, interesting article I would like to share with you all to
It says,
kind
call
of
him Eli.
close out. I don't know how many of you are familiar with the Skydance company.
Oh, of course. Speaking of J.J. Abrams.
Mm-hmm. So John Lasseter actually went to Skydance
Oh.
Animation, but the big story is that Brad Bird, the guy who did The Incredibles and all that, he is now working with Skydance Animation and hence working again with John Lasseter. So for people who don't know, Skydance has been grabbing a lot of talent from Disney.
Well, I think a little history for Lasseter needs to be, for those who don't know, he was booted from Disney over hugs. What it really was a bunch of young women who found a way to get him out because they felt like he had too much control because they didn't like being told what to do by an old white dude.
Yeah, just
They
kind
didn't
of
stop to
add
think that
that.
this guy had, 40 years of fucking experience and knew what he was doing.
Exactly. So he wound up going to Skydance.
Yeah,
A
and
lot
more
of
power
other
to
ones
him.
went with him, and Brad Bird is the latest. I mean, this guy's a heavyweight with Pixar, so he's not doing his
Mr.
next
Incredibles
movie.
himself.
Exactly. So he's not doing it with Disney now. He's going to Skydance. So for those of you who only or may have even heard about Skydance with respect, they do not just do animation. You want to know what the latest hit that Skydance has been working on?
Well, they've done a ton of stuff,
Research.
actually.
Oh, you're kidding. They did
Oh,
Reacher?
Skydance done a ton of stuff. They produced a lot of J.J.
Thank you,
Abrams
Skydance.
films.
Thank you so much.
Skydance
I
has
had
done a
no
lot of stuff.
idea. You knew that would get me, didn't you?
Yeah, I would happen to be watching when I was watching Reacher, and I'm watching the credits at the end because people were like, "Why is this? This is on Amazon. How come it's not being screwed up?" And I believe Tom and someone else had said, "Well, Paramount's the one that actually filmed it, and Amazon's just distributing it." I'm like, "Okay." And then I happen to watch the credits, and I see Skydance mentioned.
Wow. Yeah, they got
Skydance
this
does a lot with Paramount.
just spot on. This series couldn't be any more perfect, from the casting to the organization of even just the writing and everything. It's just absolutely perfect. I wouldn't be surprised if the show was nominated for something going, down the line, but it really is a perfect show as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah.
Well, here's some of the things that Skydance has been involved in. Let's see, we've got everything from True Grit, the remake, Mission Impossible Ghost Protocol, Jack Reacher, the G.I. Joe films, Star Trek, as I said before with JJ, World War Z, Jack Ryan, Terminator Sega Genesis, let's see here, Baywatch remake, a couple other things like that, Gemini Man they made. So they're not the greatest company in the world, but they've done a lot of stuff. Now, as far as their television stuff, yeah, you brought up some of the other stuff too. They've done Manhattan, Gracie and Frankie, Altered Carbon, Condor, Jack Ryan, Reacher, all that stuff. So yeah, they've been around for a while. But they've been very heavily associated with J.J. Abrams, as you can see. And I think they're producing the upcoming. I think they did. They didn't do the other Transformer movies, but they are producing the upcoming one. So.
Oh, okay. Well, that was just something interesting that I had happened to notice because I've been
Very
following Brad
interesting. I'm
Bird,
glad you shared that.
and I keep hearing Skydance. So
That's a
just
good
something
catch for
to,
them.
pay attention to. I'm excited about it. I haven't been excited about anything Pixar related. So to hear Brad Bird's going to Skydance, I think his film's called Ray Gun.
Ray Gun.
Interesting.
That was one that I think they were going to make at Pixar for a while.
Really?
I think so, if I'm not mistaken. If it's the one I'm thinking of, it's like a 1950s sci-fi kind of movie, and it got canned after Mars Needs Moms because they said it was too close to that or something like that. I think.
Oh, okay.
And then, of course, Lasseter got outed. So
yeah, exactly. So yeah, some stuff to look at coming up. Interesting news out there.
Yeah, which to me, I still say is one of the biggest travesties ever because the Me Too, he's the one who suffered the most for nothing, nothing. And some of the bullshit that came out, I still couldn't find anything that was legit. Like I found a lot of bullshit, but
I never heard anything concrete
no.
whatsoever. So I'm glad that when he left, a whole lot of people went and left with
And
him. So
Pixar suffered since, and
yeah,
Disney Animation, as far as I'm concerned. So,
yeah, because
with
these
that,
pictures for movies, I ask. Yeah, so that's pretty much it for the evening.
say, yeah, I think we got her all. So great job, ladies, and thank you to Cameron and of course Michelle from Forces of Light and everybody else out there in the chat,
Mm.
the super chats, the members, all you guys, hit that like button if you haven't already. Show support to the ladies. That helps the channel and lets us know that you like the show. Other than that, I think we've hit everything we need to. So
Well, yeah.
Mhm.
And of course, you guys can find me on Positive
yeah,
Fandom, my channel, Positive Fandom on YouTube, as well as on Twitch. Monday night, you can find me here, obviously on Toxic Femininity, here with Lorena and Tom and Cameron. On Wednesdays and Thursdays, sometimes you can find me on the 1/6 Scale Man Network, streaming with Lael Rockwell. And often you can find me streaming with Lorena on other shows like our Reacher series that we're doing, as well as on Saturdays, our toxic masculinity shows, which are coming up. On Friday afternoons, you can see me streaming with Tom again and Andre at 12 p.m. Eastern on Midnight's Edge in the morning. And on Friday nights, you can catch me streaming on the Burnett Network at 12 a.m. with Robert Meyer Burnett. And on Sundays, you can catch me on my live show called Sunday Brunch at 10:30 a.m. Eastern Standard Time.
and Lorena.
Yes, folks. Well, let's see. Tomorrow at 5 p.m. Eastern, I will be live streaming on Twitch with and we are going to be doing a watch party of episode 3 of Reacher season 1. So we're going to be doing a watch party and reaction after that. On Wednesday at 8:30 p.m., the Dark Council will be held on Fatal J's channel. So please do come and check that out. Dark Council, of course, consisting of Fatal J, Dimaj and I, the Gospel according to Mark with a C, Abu Nas, Lord Callus, and Drunk 3PO, and I just basically produced the
Hold
show.
up, Fatal J.
Yeah, it's gonna be on Fatal J's
I don't.
channel.
Hold up. That's his little. Hold up.
He's a trip.
I love Fatal J. He's awesome.
Fatal's so
I love
cool.
all those guys. So yeah, looking forward to that. And other than that, what else is there?
One last thing, Friday on the Lunch Table Show on my channel, Zevius will be my
Oh,
guest.
cool.
So he's going to be talking about the music video that he put together for
Oh,
Zuby
nice.
Music. So please do come out and check
Nice.
that
I'll
out.
have to check that out. But yeah, what else was there? Oh yeah, check out Nina's channel, of course, as well, and hopefully she
Yes.
feels better.
Feel better, girl.
Yeah. Other than that, buy Mandy's book and take care of yourselves and each other, kids. We'll catch you on the flip side. See y'all. If I don't do me at midnight, I mean, I don't know if I'm going to do a Midnight's Edge After Dark tomorrow. If I don't see you tomorrow, though, I'll see you kids definitely on Wednesday morning. Take care of yourselves.